We walk the footsteps of our fathers, the trail blazed by our mothers. They bought the land with their blood long ago, long ago. Aiel, Ogiers, and AudioBooks, so my. Oh, sing of my Netherem. Oh, weep for the blood of Ammon. Oh, cry for my Netherem. Long ago, long ago. Aiel, Ogiers, and AudioBooks, so my. Sing of my Netherem. Oh, weep for the blood of Ammon. Oh, cry for my Netherem. Long ago, long ago. Aiel, Ogiers, and AudioBooks, so my. Sing of my Netherem. Oh, weep for the blood of Ammon. Oh, cry for my Netherem. Long ago, long ago. Aiel, Ogiers, and AudioBooks, so my.
The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. Legend fades to myth, and even myth is long forgotten before the age that gave it birth comes again. Welcome, everybody, to Aiel, Ogiers, and AudioBooks, a podcast about a fantasy book series called The Wheel of Time. I am bringing my friends along, Annie and Aiel. Lou will be joining shortly because he's a slacker. And Cupcake is busy running. Delivering packages and parcels across the, well, yeah, no, he can't. He's kind of chubby. Mm-hmm. Not after all that.
Imagine having a job.
No, well, I meant the running part.
Oh yeah, that's it. It's kind of disappointing in a way because this is his chapters. These are the chapters, Aiel, that we wanted him to be here for, and
oh yeah.
Bail Doman is probably one of the better side characters, and I really enjoy him. I know I'm starting off in the wrong direction already. We're just chit-chatting. Well, let's get right into it then. Chapter 24, Further Down the Arenal, which isn't the exact title.
I'm going to stop you because it's going to be super long. But just in regard to side characters, we get one of the best and potentially, depending on your opinion, one of the worst in these 3 chapters. So yes, I'm looking forward to this. It might go on forever, potentially, because they were 3 long-ass chapters. But I'm looking forward to it. It was good.
Well, they are very long to listen to, but not, again, like Robert Jordan writes in such a way that it's not filler, but you're well, let's get into it. Further Down the Arenal starts with Rand waking up in a dream, and waking up in a dream. That makes a lot of sense. We join him in the midst of a dream where he's in a maze. The maze is made out of stone walls, and he's walking down. He knows he's in a dream, because distances and things and time is kind of skewed to him. So he's walking down the path, and let me make sure I open my notes. I do that all the time. Aiel, you yelled at me last time. I got to do something about it. So he's walking through the labyrinth. There's black sky, red sky, black clouds, pretty devious looking. And it's very much an internal monologue, wondering what is happening and what's going on. He knows Beelzebub is there chasing him. He is feeling his way along, and there are some thorns on the walls, and he pricks his finger, and it hurts. And so, puts his finger in his mouth, sucks on the blood, and it's dripping. And as he stumbles back from the finger prick, he kicks up a stone, and it's not really a stone. He looks down, it's a skull, and then he notices that the labyrinth is paved with like what would look like stones, but are probably the tops of other skulls and things.
Yes.
I think that's a great description of how it like kind of changes as he realizes what it is.
Right. And again, we're in a dream. This is a reoccurring thing so far. We're about halfway in the book. I said that last time, but we're approaching the halfway mark. And this is like the third time that Beelzebub has appeared to Rand, and it seemed to be more than a dream. Again, with the finger prick, and so Rand comes to the realization, like he remembers hearing somewhere that if you always make a right turn in a labyrinth, you'll eventually find your way out. I don't know where he got that lore from. I don't know who told him that.
That's incorrect. The actual rule is if you hold your right hand on the wall as you walk in and never let it go, by law of maze, you will eventually lead to the exit. Because
you would have followed it all the way around.
You just hold your hand on the wall and just constantly just keep walking. Never leave your hand off the wall, and you will eventually leave.
No, that's good to know.
You can solve any maze that way. Labyrinths are a little bit different, especially if they have like moving pathways, and a dream, anything can happen. But if it's like a regular fixed maze, even if it's drawn, maze law applies, and you can just go out by holding the right hand.
Well, I'm glad to know that, because now I will cheat on every maze I ever do from moving on forward. I'll just follow the right line. But yes. He does that though. He makes a right turn and then runs to the next intersection and makes a right turn, and then boom, there he is. There's Beelzebub staring right at him. Eyes aflame, mouth aflame, and they have a conversation-ish. And Beelzebub is telling him that the eye of the world will never serve you. He said the name of the book, he said it. And you're my hound. And he's going to use the great serpent to kill him and blah, blah, blah. So there is a little bit of like, again, cryptic kind of messaging to Rand to not exactly give us what's going on, but, there's a threat that Beelzebub
more
is
of
going
that.
to use
I'm telling you terms that, of course, everybody knows this except for the reader.
Yes, pretty much. Well, even as Rand, because he doesn't know. And we'll get more into that later on, too, as these guys, Rand, Perrin, and Matt just don't know.
Small tangent, though. I've been curious throughout the entire book where people get this knowledge from. I know a lot of it's like, oh, I heard this from this or whatever. But, like, in real life, we know about, like, what happened in the biblical ages because of the Bible. There's literally, like, a written account of it, so we have things to be like, oh well, this is what the book said, so somebody wrote it, which means either it's true or all a lie, so it's one of the two. And then I'm wondering, in this universe, is there some sort of like tome? Is there a big Bible? Is there some sort of written account that this is actually somewhere, and then people are just paraphrasing the written account? Where does this actual information come from other than word of mouth? Just something I've been thinking about.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, a lot of it I would assume trickles down from word of mouth, but there are libraries, there are educated peoples, that have, just like in the real world, we have books other than the Bible that have accounts of those times. And moreover, we have a lot of myths and legends that, also corroborate with history, floods and things. Like we know there were floods because we have physical geological evidence of that. But we also have biblical stories and, other, I can't think of, like fairy tales and things. I don't want to compare the Bible to fairy tales.
Legends
I don't want to insult anybody. But yes, go ahead, Echo. I'm sorry.
It's fun. I was just going to say, it kind of matches up to what we have here, apart from they don't have the internet yet. That's about it. Like normal things. Some are like wives' tales, some are like fairy tales, some are morals, some are stories, some are based on history, some are based on potentially forgotten history. Like
Fables.
you remember Tom early on, he's kind of like, how do you know that story? Because he's like,
Oh,
that's
when-
like an old story. Yeah, like so
The one that
yeah,
Egwene
just-
knew, yes.
Yeah, it's just old. It's just normal rules apply, I guess.
And yeah, apparently people travel a lot more too. So, word of mouth does get around a lot easier misconstrued as it can be, people, it starts out ABC and by the time it gets to the next person, it's DEF, it's a telephone game that you played in kindergarten kind of thing. Like everybody changes a word or an inflection. And then by the time it gets written down, it's a completely different, it's a legend then, it's a story. It's not necessarily news. So Beelzemon is more veiled threats to Rand and telling him you're going to serve me, because if you don't serve me, you're going to die. I'm going to kill you, basically. And then you're going to serve me anyway, because you'll serve me in death and in life, whichever one you so choose. And it basically Rand comes to a realization. He's like, oh, this is a dream. And Beelzemon, is a little shocked and surprised that Rand is basically, waking himself up out of this situation. Because every time Rand tried to think of something or somewhere else while he was in the labyrinth, he felt like he was being held there. Like there was a haze around him a little bit. It was a weird situation all around. But he woke himself up out of the dream. And as he was waking up, he puts his finger up to him, and he tastes blood on his finger, and like, oh Jesus, that happened again. Like with the rats in Barillon, something happened in the dream, and it reflected real world. I don't really have any what did you guys think of the dream sequence again? Like I think Robert Jordan's a bit flowery with words, and I mentioned the skull part, and Annie, you kind of touched on it, and that's the order I think we'll go in. We'll go Annie, then Lou, and then our other veteran here, Echo. Yeah, okay.
I'm getting a little annoyed with them because it's just kind of the same thing. Like it's the same message, but with a different flavor, a different icing on top of it. It's the same thing. He's trying to put Rand in a position of fear so he'll submit, because he will be thinking that there's no other option except for to serve the Dark Lord. So it's the same thing over and over. I do like the scenes and like the way it's described. It does feel dreamy. Something I am curious though is these dream sequences clearly can affect Rand in the waking world. Now what I'm wondering is if it's a if the damage is being emailed to him, like he's physically there and then the damage is just opening up on his skin suddenly, or if he's metaphysically actually in this place in the dream world and it's his body is quantumly linked to this projection version of him. So that's the only part of these dream sequences that I'm interested in, is figuring out the connection of reality, because the dream is a dream. It's pointless. It's the same thing over and over.
Mr. Lou?
Annie, yes.
You agree with Annie?
The dream is real. It's as real as you're going to imagine one of your own dreams sometimes. So just think of it that way. Because if he wakes up and he's tasting his own blood, he kind of gives you that message. Yo, I pricked myself with a thorn, but yet now I'm awake and I have blood in that same spot. So you kind of answer yourself. And as far as at first, when I first started listening to the chapter, I'm like, hold up, why would? But then I'm like, oh, this is a dream sequence. So, it's Robert Jordan doing his thing. Not telling you where the fuck you're starting at, but you got to assume. So, just
yeah, for sure.
Follow the thread. Let the wheel weave you.
As it wills, for sure. Yeah, okay. So I think if anything, it kind of helps show how not powerful the actual Beelzebub guy is, because it starts off and he's kind of like, that's the dark one, right? We're all kind of like, oh, that's like the devil or whatever the equivalent is. And now he's kind of like, you better bow down to me. You better, because And even Rand's kind of like, hang on a second. Instead of being terrified, I'm going to remember what I got taught by Moraine. It's a dream.
He's about as scary as Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger's scary. I think Freddy Krueger's scary.
Yeah, and so is this guy, but he's the same level of threat, same level of danger, same level of actually being able to do stuff to you. Like, just don't let him touch you. Don't say yes, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, potentially. So yes, I do think it's quite funny that you're kind of like, oh, I'm kind of getting bored of the dream sequences, whereas it's actually kind of teaching you quite a lot. It's kind of going, even Rand's kind of learning, hang on a sec. Like, yeah, it's scary, sure, but you know, I can control stuff. I can kind of get out of here. I'm not as terrified as I was before. He's kind of getting used to it. And it's kind of showing, okay, well, we know now he's not going to go, okay, Dark One, you know, I serve you. It's too scary. Or he's not going to run home. He's kind of like, no, I just kind of got to put up with it. And we're literally seeing him doing that in the dreams with this Dark One or whatever. And he's just going, I'm going to have to put up with this for a few more minutes till I can wake myself
even
up.
Rand is getting over it. He's like, another dream?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, come on.
Yeah, it's
Next
another
story,
dream. Damn it, can I just get a good night's sleep?
Right.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
And to your point, Annie, yeah, I think it's supposed to keep you intrigued as well. Like, what is the actual thing that's going on here? You know, it's being pushed to you repetitively, and even in the next chapter, dreams get mentioned again with Perrin. But let me back up a little bit. So as Rand wakes up, he's aboard the Spray with Matt and Tom. They're all hanging out, and Bail Domond is pushing his crew pretty hard. You know, he wants to get to White Bridge as quick as possible. So he's pushing his rowers and all that, marching up and down. They're grumbling a bit. They're like, this guy is, you know, I want to stretch my legs a bit. And so Tom is kind of doing his thing, you know, keeping the crew at quelled, I guess you would say. You know, he's telling them stories. He's not doing necessarily grandiose performance where the crew takes a break and he performs for them, but he's going up to crew members and having conversations with each person and you know, exchanging stories and jokes and things and trying to keep people comforted.
He's the morale officer on board.
Exactly. And at the same time, like, I see, and I wonder if you guys are wondering too, like, this is exactly how this guy knows everything. You know, like, he has an excuse and a reason to get information or have a conversation with nearly anybody. And I found that to be an interesting detail, because that wasn't necessarily it was just in the book. You know, it was like, oh, he's the morale officer. He's keeping everybody at bay. And even when people were getting upset enough to the point where they thought that the Trollocs weren't chasing them, even Bail Domond comes out with a sword and a hook and hangs it up on the mast. And everybody's like, shit, man, the Trollocs, yeah, I still got a wound from the last time we dealt with them. And they push on. Except for one guy who is getting all the rough end jobs. I can't remember his name now. I want to say Grom, but it's not.
Something like that.
Yeah, you guys know. Yeah,
Starts
yeah.
with a G, yeah.
Yes.
And he definitely has it out for Rand, because as they were getting on the boat a couple chapters ago, Rand was scrambling around and accidentally kicked the guy in the head.
Yes. And
shouldn't have been sleeping.
Well, and that's the thing. You know, they jumped on and he was asleep at his post. And so this guy got disciplined for that. He's doing solitary jobs. He's a pot scrubber. That's like the lowest kitchen job you can have. You start on the sink, get over.
They
on
have
the dish
him in the
tank,
bilge tank cleaning it out, like the
and
bitch
that was
jobs.
Yes, he's down in the bellies of the boat looking for leaks in sludge, literally just water that seeped through. So that guy definitely not happy, but everybody else is doing all right. Yeah, we're being pushed hard, but we'll move on. And so as they're going down the Arenal River, they pass a bunch of statues, and as they go by, like, the oldest ones are so worn, and then like the more recent ones, you can see more features and faces and stuff. But even the water has worn away the feet of some of the stones, and I'm might be jumping ahead a little bit. I'm not sure, but Bail Doman is talking to Tom and Matt and Rand. They're all standing there, and they see a silver spire that sticks way up out in the woods. And Matt remarks, "Wow, it looks like it's steel." And Bail Doman tells them about it. "Oh, it do be steel, but it never rusts, and we use it as a marker." And I can't keep doing the bit. I would love to keep trying to. Oh, fortune prick me, but I don't have the energy. But he explains to them that they use it as a marker. Like, we know where we're at because it's there. It's always been there. Age of Legends stuff.
It's a landmark, mile marker sort of deal.
Right.
Yeah.
And Matt remarks that, I bet there's treasure in there. And
Fucking Matt.
exactly. And even up until this point, Matt has been kind of in on himself, introverted a little bit. There's been little hints where he's kind of just been like shitty attitude kind of thing. Like, maybe everybody's dead. Maybe they're not. I don't know. He's being a little bit
be
further.
revealed.
Right. So as Bail Doman is explaining that, it's not the treasure that pulls you along. It's the strangeness of the world that pulls you along. And he goes on to say some things, they're intramalking. There's a hand that's sticking out of the island with a big, huge crystal, 30 spans wide. I don't know how big that is, but it's huge, basically.
He said like bigger than the boat we're on.
Right. Mm-hmm. And there's one in particular that he mentions, and it's one of those things that it's just world building and you never hear about it again. But there's a bowl that's carved out in a mountain with a silver spike in the middle, and you die if you get within a certain distance of it. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like, I've read these books a number of times. I'm not really representing it as good as I should be. But that doesn't get brought up again, I don't think. Like, I can't remember what that is. That doesn't make any, it's just something he saw somewhere, and oh, well, you got to trust that, you just heard a story. And so what is that spike that just kills people for no reason? What is it?
Also, that's really hard to prove, that one. Like, unless you're with people and you're like slacking a little behind, and then 3 of your friends just drop dead, and you're like, "Whoa,
run ahead!" Yeah,
one more of your friends go ahead and they drop dead, and you're like, "Okay, I'm not going any closer to this," because clearly, if anyone gets close enough to this spire, they all die.
Right, like exactly. How many people have died testing out the mile radius theory? Is there holes in the mile radius? Is there like, can you get closer in some parts of the circle? No, who knows? Yeah. It's like you said, it's just a story, and if it never gets brought up again, then it's just like, somewhere in the world there's just an instant death zone.
Yeah,
maybe
precisely. Lost my train of thought. So, Bail Doman is explaining that it's the strangeness that'll set the hook on you, and it'll pull you along, and you can't not get away from just adventure. And Rand is like, "Nah, I'm going home." I'm a sheep herder. I want to go back home, kind of stuff. And he's like, and Bail Doman pretty much chastised him for it. It's like, dude, you've been out here how long, and you haven't even seen anything. No, it'll get you. And by the time you get back home, your town won't be big enough to hold you anymore. And he's like, "No, you're wrong." Rand is 100% against this. And then defers to Matt. It's like, "Matt, we're going back home someday, right?" And Matt's going, "Yeah, we'll go home someday." He just wants that treasure for himself, don't he? Like he's already another one of those little hints.
He's got gold lust.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. And I'm glad I listened to this a couple times, because that conversation kind of tapers off, and Rand is, on his own a little bit after that. Matt walks away. Bail and Tom go off and do their thing. And you just kind of cut to Rand. He's up on the mast now. Like, it literally jumped. It's a bit of a jump. And I never caught that before. I was like, oh, geez, it is a little abrupt. Because you're just like, here we are. Like you said, Lou, you just kind of got to figure it out a second. You got to read a little bit and gain where you're at. And Rand's, 100 feet up in the air. Very dangerous spot. And he's watching, and this is another thing I like about Robert Jordan. He's watching the banks of the river go by. And the way the boat is swaying, like he just is in the breeze feeling it, and everything's moving past him. He feels still, but the riverbanks are what the world is passing him by, and he's, you know, got a little bit of comfort and respite, I guess you would say. Like, he's not really worried here. He's not being chased in his dreams. He's not being chased by the Trollocs.
He's having his
just
Titanic moment. He's the king of the world.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I'm the king of the world. He's on the front of the ship with his chest all barreled up. Well, and to your point, you know, he stands up and he balances up on one leg. He's got his arms out. He's on one foot, and the mast is rocking back and forth. He's way up in the air. And they make a point to say, or Robert Jordan makes a point to say, that Rand has been up this high before, but the branches haven't been in his way. So he can see everybody, the crew. The boat oars look like little spider legs pushing the boat along. And, you know, people are kind of looking at him. And as he's doing this, like, well, he loses his balance real quick. It's like, whoa, his balance just like comes out from under him, and he kind of falls and like barely catches above him. And I think the way it's explained, he almost busts his stuff on the mast below him. Like he's almost fell and split himself. And as he's doing that, Tom Maryland happens to be right there. He was like, "What are you doing, boy?" And Rand looks over with the most pleasant response. It's like, "Tom, when'd you get here?" You know, like, and because he's climbed up, Tom's climbed up to get him down, because Rand doesn't know what's going on exactly. So Rand says, "Do you want me to come down?" And Tom nods vigorously, like, "Yes, that would be nice. I would like you to come down, please, now. Yes." And Rand goes, "All right, I'm coming down now." You know, like, it's just this, it's so flippant, like, kind of like childish attitude. And he slides himself down. Like, he just wraps his arm around the rope and curves around the other way, starts out a little slow pace, slides, and right before he gets to the deck, he hops off the rope, lands with a little stumble and a flourish. A few crew members clapped because they were all staring at him because he's a crazy. Even Bail Doman, ham-fisted on him. "This boy, he do be the death of me."
Captain Jack Sparrow.
And Tom is shocked at him, you know, because, oh, geez, you know, well, what are you doing? It's a little dangerous. But as Rand lands and does his little flourish, he sees that Matt is playing with a knife or a dagger, whichever you prefer to describe it, as he's sliding it in and out of the sheath.
Before we move on to the next little thing with Matt, I would like to point out that this is now the third significantly noticeable time that Rand has been in a sort of like trance-like state and almost completely altered his personality.
I was going to ask you guys' opinion on that. I just kind of you're right. I should have broke right there instead of.
The first time could be argued it was just some daydreaming where he was looking up at the Jakar, looking past things, focusing on the moon, being all like dazed. And then the second time would be in Baerlon with the White Cloaks. And now this, where he's just suddenly up on top of the ship being a big goofball.
So much like the dreams, this is a repetitive type of sequence. So what are you gleaning from this? Anything, if at all? Is it just weird? Annie?
It's obviously significant, but I don't have enough details as to what makes it significant. Rand suddenly being a different person is kind of noticeable. So there's clearly a reason why that's happening, unless he's just a schizophrenic.
Right. Lou, you got to kind of be careful how you answer this one. That's what I was going to say.
I'm just going to say he's channeling his inner Jack Sparrow. He's having fun.
Excellent answers. I like these style of answers. Now you're comparing it to
the flip and shit. That's some shit Jack does in those movies. Like, how a normal man can't pull this off, but you do. So, you know, he's daydreaming, enjoying nature, and pulling it off. That's how I just take it, because like Spurg said, I can't answer truthfully.
Well, yeah, you can't give too much, but I like that answer too, because it does give anybody watching the idea of what is going on right there, especially aboard that ship. Yeah, he's being very flippant like Jack. "Oh yeah, sure, let's go. I'm on my way down now." And Tom is just, in the book, as you're reading it, you could tell he's just like, this fucking kid, I'm going to choke him. Because he's acting up and he doesn't, and it was to clear his head. Echo, thoughts and prayers and things?
Yeah, of course, for sure. So with this, I'll kind of counter a tiny bit what Annie says. As someone who obviously knows what happens and who's read it before, you kind of get enough, not a lot, and you have to be a sleuth to kind of be following along and putting things together. But you are getting quite a lot of information here that you could put towards what is happening with Rand. And that's about as far as I go. But yes, like obviously the first 3 times I read this, I didn't notice any of this stuff. But
right,
it is very interesting how much you do get given, I would say. In regards to that.
I know it sounds ridiculous for me to keep repeating this part, but a 14-book series, 15, I think, with the prequel, it has such rereadability. And not just because it's long and a tasking kind of read, but because there's so much groundwork laid on day one. Even stuff that, like I mentioned with the spire in the bowl, like it doesn't get mentioned again, but it's there. Like, like he's putting things there that he might build on later, just to cover your own butt on foreshadowing, I kind of think. Because Bail Doman mentioned Tanchico and things that were in Tanchico that you would not. Oh, that was a good conversation. That's what it was. Pictures of animals that nobody's ever seen before. And Rand says, yeah, well, a kid can draw a picture of an animal that nobody's ever seen before. Ha, you do be right, boy. But do they have the bones? And Bail Doman goes to explain that they have the bones in Tanchico. So, like, spoiler alert, we might get to see that later because it's a museum. So, or at least something that might be comparable. Things get mentioned and named, and they do pop back up. But
I would
later,
add
you'll
that
forget.
if, for those who seen the show, this is not in the show whatsoever. So that's what's making this more fun with the book.
You're kidding me, Lou. That's bonkers.
Just a fun little fact.
What, there's no boat at all?
Yeah.
Well,
there's no such thing as boats in the show. Yeah, they don't exist.
At the present moment,
Oh,
the first season, like, this is not in the first season whatsoever.
It flows different, but it flows more like a book should. It doesn't, TV as a medium or movies as a medium is definitely a show but don't tell, whereas this is all exposition dump. All right. Wait, hold on. Where was it? Okay, like the night. All right. I'm getting sidetracked again. I got.
I would say this. Listening so far, it's a little disservice because this is an interesting part of the book that the show kind of skipped. Like, they work it in their way, but we never got this boat sequence, which is kind of interesting because, hey, you got Rand daydreaming, doing Jack Sparrow-ish shit. You kind of get some of this Matt stuff, but it's different the way it's done here, which kind of works. So, it's a little disappointing.
It's an easy thing to cut out, Lou. It's an easy thing to cut out. It's a transport, but
Some of it,
and budget. You got to have a boat. You need a river. You got to, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to need a stunt guy to do that. Right. So Rand lands on deck, makes his flourish, and catches Matt playing with his dagger. Phrasing. And Rand remarks, "Oh, where'd you get that?" We get a nice description of the dagger too. It has sigils on the sheath. Its hilt wrapped in fine gold wire. It's capped with a
massive
ruby the size of your thumbnail. And there's some serpents on the hilt part of it, looking scary. Not the most friendliest looking weapon, but, Matt is very protective of it, shoves it back into his coat, and he's like, "Where'd you get that?" And then Matt's like, "I didn't take it." So, oh no, he blames Rand and Perrin right away. It's your guys' fault because you pulled me away with the treasure. It was in my hand. And Rand makes the connection that it came from Shadar Logoth. And Matt justifies it by saying he took it. It wasn't given. So therefore, none of what Moraine said applies to him.
Of
even
course,
though,
loopholes. Right.
Yes. Well, and Matt's a loopholey kind of guy. At least, most trickster character archetypes are, like, oh, rules, I'm going to shirk them anyway responsible. And that's basically what Matt had done here. And begs Rand to keep the secret. Don't tell anybody we got it. Rand's like, oh, dude, we could sell it and travel like kings all the way to Tarvalin. And he's like, Matt's like, yeah, if we need to. Yep. So he's basically not giving up the dagger if he doesn't have to. And there's that exchange between the two of them where, Matt's like, keep my secret. And Rand's like, I'll keep your secret. Don't worry. Like, he's being very paranoid of a person he grew up with. And he's like, we're the only two left, from Emmonsfield. It's just us, and Rand's like, no, Perrin and Egwene are still alive. They're still alive. Don't you worry. He's like, yeah, well, all right then. Like he's being a very negative Nancy, and it's not nice. But that's the chapter 24. I'm pretty sure it ends right there with them kind of, tapering off and everybody going their own separate ways. And then we get into chapter 25, which is a point of view change. But as far as chapter 24 goes, what do you guys think on a general whole? Was it, interesting enough to bring you back to, because we just left, I believe it was Nynaeve, Moraine, and Lan, and then we went to Perrin and Egwene, and they met Elias, and now we're back with, Tom makes, they make, mention of Tom's second best knives, I think, in this chapter. And I wanted to point out to Annie real quick, the reason he left them behind was because the blood of the Trollocs and Myrddraal will ruin the steel of a blade. Not right away necessarily, but it will. So that could be the reason why Tom left his knives behind that last time. But let me let you guys answer. What do you guys think of chapter 24?
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. There was, it's another one of those like, hey, let's not forget about these characters. They still exist. We just got to move them from one point to another. So let's give it a little bit of fluff. I like the Gleeman training, him being like, hey, just in case you guys don't, meet up with your friends again, because you already have that doubt. It would be nice to have something to fall back on. So maybe you should take this a little bit seriously. So you do have an option. But other than that, just a little bit of more character building. You get to see that the reveal of the knife, I think, is the most important part of the chapter. But Lou accidentally let that go a couple episodes ago.
But yes, that's okay. I know he was waiting on this.
Yeah. Other than that, I would say this chapter, just a transitional chapter, just filler.
Gotcha.
the good old filler.
Well,
I like
and. Go ahead, Lou. I'm sorry.
I like the chapters. You got a little quirkiness with Rand, the daydreaming sequence, and the whole dream sequence. It's like it's building things. Like these are all little breadcrumbs being sprinkled. It's like you may not think it's significant, but it will play a significant part. Maybe not in the rest of this book, but you could tell it's going to lead somewhere in the future. So I'm looking for, like I said. Let's keep going.
I know. It's bitten you. You want to know what happens because you have an idea, and now you're going to get the full framework.
The way it's built, it's fun.
How are you enjoying chapter 24 for the third time?
Time? Yeah, like the more we kind of go over these things, the more things I kind of realize it's definitely a filler episode, chapter, sorry, and I can kind of empathize with people who are maybe kind of like, yeah, no, get into the actual story again because it's actually really interesting and I want to know what happens next. And you kind of like, yeah, but let's just set some little additional info like character lore, all this, and you're like, yeah, okay, cool, go to someone else then so we can get something cool to happen. So I can empathize with that.
It's
Go on.
these slower moments, though, that help you empathize and build with a character. That they're literally character building moments
No,
for a
100%.
reason. It's so you can get to see
Yes.
their inner workings. And despite the fact that I keep calling these chapters like boring or slow or anything like that, I will keep saying it is just as important as the flashy and dramatic scenes. It's just not as necessarily like serotonin inducing, you know? You don't get that
No,
dopamine
100%.
rush.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it would potentially be the worst 14 book series in the world if it was every chapter you're kind of, oh my god, and then what happens? Then what happens? Because they wouldn't be able to have anything be consistent. I was kind of halfway through my thing, I think, but Gonsberg, what are you saying? I don't want you to
Oh no, I won't. But it's Bale Doman. He tells you, like, you guys are like, oh, it's filler or not. You want to go back home? No, that's not what. You know, you're looking for the next dopamine hit or scene isn't necessarily the treasure you're looking for. It's going to be the things on the way to getting there, and just the strangeness of the chapters, like the Jack Sparrow moment or Matt, being shady with the dagger. And like you mentioned, I kind of left Tom out of this chapter a lot. He's pushing these boys hard to learn some stuff, so that way, they might be able to take care of themselves in the real world, just in case if their friends are dead. And a lot of times with a television show or a movie, we're like, how did that person learn that? And here, like you said, it's filler, it's fluffy, but it gets us to where we need to be. We know what happened. We know how Rand knows how to juggle. We know how Matt knows whatever Matt knows, or whatever.
Sure.
I couldn't think of a good example that quick, but you know what I'm saying.
So, real quick, man, did anyone else, when he was saying, it's not about the treasures, it's the like weirdness you find along the way or whatever, did anyone else hear it's the friends you make along the way? That kind of expression when he said it. That's pretty much what I had. And yeah,
It's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of nonsense. I very much would kind of like say with these chapters, sorry, you're so right that they are like fluffer, they are slow and what have you. But even on this one, we're getting, he took a dagger, let's call it a dagger because we're all going to refer to it as dagger going forward, let's be honest, from Shadar Logoth. And we're kind of like, he shouldn't have done that, apparently. The people were very like, don't take anything. And he did. So that's quite important for a chapter, full stop, I think. And Rand acting weird again is re-emphasized, like out of the blue, out of character.
The two things, yes.
Again.
The dreams.
Matt is also acting weird.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. So I think that's kind of worth it.
Good thing you picked that up.
Yeah, for a filler. What the dagger? You picked it up.
Well, no, what Annie just said, that he's starting to act weird. Because
I know.
Now
Yeah,
I don't have to worry about saying something that I shouldn't say.
But yeah, I think maybe we should take that as a lesson as we go through the chapters. On the ones where they are slower, we're kind of like, are they trying to tell us something then? Is there something that I've maybe missed? Because it's amazing the things you pick up, like us in hindsight, obviously. But yeah, crazy.
I know.
Yeah, it's definitely, this time being in depth is changing my view on some things for sure. Like some characters I definitely don't like as much as I used to. But others are getting the reverse treatment. I like other characters that I really liked a little bit more. And speaking of, in chapter 25, we get a perspective change. We go back to Perrin and Egwene and Elias, and they're heading through the woods there. South and east, I think they said they're traveling. And as they're traveling, they got some wolves walking with them. Perrin is very aware of where the wolves are all the time. Bella is also very aware of where the wolves are as they're walking along. Like, she's being cool, walking, but keeping her eye on them. Egwene also on the back of Bella, being cool, but, keeping her eye on the wolves because, yeah, she is a bit afraid. And Eggy does her Egwene thing where she says, everybody's taking turns on the horse. And Perrin basically is like, all right, because he's just done arguing with her. Not like most dudes get at a certain point. It's just like, okay, you get your way because this is not a battle I'm going to pick this time. And so he rides Bella. And then, of course, Perrin Perrin does the smart thing that any guy should do, and be like, all right, your turn first. So that way, Egwene gets her ride in first. And she very says, okay, but Elias, you're next. And, excuse me, he basically is like, no. And she's like, but I insist. And he goes, very much, no. And kind of just stares her down until she backs up and then climbs up on the horse and then rides away. Lou did send me a picture of what Elias looked like in the show. I do like the dreads, and again, I still think there should be more beard. If you're out in the wilderness like that, you ain't shaving that much, and you want to stay warm. But the dreads are a nice touch. I did enjoy that. And the yellow eyes, everybody's going to be staring at this guy. It's very striking. So as they're traveling, the wolves are bringing them food, some rabbits and squirrels and all that here and there. A rabbit jumps out from underneath Bella, and before Perrin could even get his sling ready to get that rabbit, Elias gets it with a knife from like 20 feet out. Like, this guy's, I don't know what the equivalent really truly is, but he's like a man of the earth. Daniel Boone, Iroquois Indian. Like, this guy can do it. He's taking pheasants out of the air with the bow and arrow. And he's got wolves on his side. He's a cool dude. I like him. He kind of is guiding Perrin a little bit with it. I guess he tells him a little bit on the journey, I suppose. We don't get a lot of lore drop here. It's basically them walking until they run into these 3 mastiffs that come out of the brush. And they are very upset, large mastiffs. And they are barking. And Egwene and Bella kind of back up and, oh shit. And Perrin's ready with his, you can't see, Perrin's ready with his sling. He's got the rock, he's whirling it. And Elias goes, that's none of that. And then does this thing where he basically channels Caesar Milan and whistles at the dogs. He goes, and the dogs kind of start paying attention. And then he lowers the tone of his whistle and lowers his hand, and the dogs calm down and they're just chill. Like, see? No. Sir.
Sorry, just to throw you off real quick. Does anyone else think that they're trying to indicate that he was, you got a dog whistle and it's at a sound that makes dogs kind of go, oh my God, I'm going to have to stop whatever I'm doing. Do you think that, because they were saying his whistle was at different tones, do you think that's what they're indicating? Or do you think he was just kind of like, come here, like come here, doggy. And he was running, because for some reason I got that impression.
I think it's a combination. I think he's got like a special whistling, and the different tones convey different messaging. So, he can't literally speak to dogs, but, he's got the, hold up, hold on, evaluate, stop. Like different whistles, if I had to guess.
Okay. I thought it was more kind of like, you know what I mean with a dog whistle, right? That's
the high frequency, because they do mention he goes up to a higher pitch before he does bring it back down.
That's what I was just wondering, because I was kind of like, wondering if that's more what they were saying.
I didn't even think of it that way. I thought he was going to pull out his wolves and be like, look, you're dogs, I got wolves, chill out.
Basically, straight up intimidation.
Intimidation tactic. Like, yo, you 3 don't stand a chance against my hopper and crew.
Right, no kidding. Dapple, leader of the pack, she's the beast. Those wolves are not anything to, don't take them with a grain of salt. They'll fuck you up. Yeah. So Elias mentions that these mastiffs are out here because they belong to somebody. And who do these mastiffs belong to? But the Tuathawan, the traveling people. And both Egwene and Perrin are like, who? And he goes, Tinkers. Oh, Tinkers. Oh, we know who these Tinkers are. Shit, should we avoid them? Because they're thieves and steal babies right out of your child's crib. And this is, I'm going to ask you here.
Tells you when that whole sequence breaks down and then Elias breaks down, like, they don't steal. The power of gossip goes a long way in the wrong direction.
Absolutely. One bad rumor spreads faster than 10 good rumors. You know what I mean? It's very much that. And Egwene, of all people here, is the most bigoted. Remarks, they're going to steal our horse. And I mean, we don't got much else, but they're going to take our horse. Basically it's like adamant about that. And Elias checks her and is like, and your baby and blah, blah, blah. to the contrary, Perrin is more interested in meeting them because Mrs. Luhan had a tinker mended pot that she swore up and down was better than anything that her husband could do, and it, put him up, his back up. What do you mean the tinkers are better than me? I'll smack you. And so Perrin was interested straight out of pure curiosity. Oh, I'm a blacksmith. Yeah, right. So, it was interesting to see the dynamic change a little bit. Pardon me, I'm going to cough. Jeez. Am I not muted? Okay, there we go. So they make their way into the camp. They follow the dogs back into camp. The wolves back off. Perrin notices that they're still there. He could tell that they fade away, but he also knows he could always point to them. Like they're in the back of his head for the most part now. But Elias explains to Perrin and Egwene that sometimes there is custom, so you do what I do, keep your secrets to yourself, and don't pay attention to anything that they say here. Because just don't listen to them. And we find out why here in a few moments. So Elias, Perrin, and Egwene make their way into the camp. And this is, I know, Echo, I hate bringing up the show a lot and all of this, but this is one of the points that I had against the show. So as we walk into the Tuatha'an camp, we see how they're singing and dancing, and there are dogs playing with kids. And it is very pointed on what is going on here. They are very bright colored people. They're not people, but like the wagons are painted yellow and red and greens and colors that Perrin couldn't even put names to. What was your guys' first impression of the camp of the Tuatha'an people, the traveling people?
I honestly feel like there wasn't enough description. It was more about what we're doing here and this person that I'm about to go talk to. And the camp itself immediately kind of fades into the background as soon as dialogue starts. So the brief, tiny glimpse that I got was, I don't know, just like a gypsy camp. You got wagons, some tents, people running around, maybe a campfire there, livestock's over there. I don't know. The author does not paint the camp in a ton of light because that's not what this is about. It's not about the camp. It's about this guy he's about to talk to.
Fair enough.
I was, when we finally got there, I was like, finally, we got to the gypsy hobos. Yeah.
The hobos, yes. That's because I remember you describing them as hobos last time. And I feel like in the show, they probably, well, in my opinion, they looked more like hobos in the show. Whereas here,
Exactly.
they were cleaner. There was some description. Rain's wagon is yellow and red, and the spokes of the wheels are yellow and red intertwined. His wife was wearing a red blouse with a yellow skirt, and it was bright, and they remark on like, ugh, how gaudy they look, so it is up to you to kind of imagine what that looks like in your head. I'm in a Hawaiian shirt and sweatpants, so that might turn some people off. But you know what I mean? So I was just curious what your impressions were. Echo, what are your impressions of the Tuatha'an? I know you have more history with them, but
yes, sir.
Gypsy is very much the description, as negative as that word can be sometimes, but what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, no, 100%. I've always thought of them from the show and from the book as kind of like, I guess what people try to represent the gypsies or pikeys, as we call them over here, as they're kind of like, no, they're lovely. They're so hardworking. Oh yeah, they fix all their own stuff. They like leave nothing behind. They're so good. And I'm like, no, they're scumbags. They leave their rubbish everywhere, and then they just move off to someone else's land and trash that area as well. But yes, they're essentially what we're told or what we're supposed to believe that travelers, pikeys, gypsies, Roman travelers, whatever you call them, are supposed to be like. So yes, that's how I see them. / vegans in my head.
Yes,
a mix of vegans as well. Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's move forward with that. So Elias makes the introduction with, I'm not going to remember it now. It starts with an M. Madan, not Madan, but he's the seeker, and they go through a little ritual, and there's a statement, and he asks Elias, "Do you know the song?" And Elias replies, "I do not know the song." And then Rain responds in kind, as it was, as it shall ever be, and we will seek the song for as long as it takes. And welcomes
okay,
Elias.
Hold on. Since you both have knowledge on this, do these people ask that no matter what? Because Rain already knows Elias. They already have a history. They know each other specifically and directly. Why is he asking Elias, do you know the song? Hey, since the last time I saw you, did you just magically learn the song that I'm looking for?
I assume it's kind of like,
hey, how you doing? That's just their greeting. Hey, you know the song?
No, I think it's more kind of like a cultural kind of like greeting, you know, like kind of like the Muslims do to each other. They don't really hope every time that peace be upon you and all that stuff. They're just kind of saying, hello, how's it going again? Not seen you in a while.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
It was a ritual introduction.
A fluffed greeting.
Yeah. Well, because yes, well, here's the thing. They showed up. He knows, Rain knows Elias, but he doesn't know Perrin and Egwene, and they show up with a horse, and the camp stops because they don't know, like, not everybody knows Elias, only Rain does, and his wife. But they stop to see, and Rain makes the introduction, and then, come sit to our dinner, the food's almost ready. Then everybody picks right back up where they were, you know, singing and dancing, playing, and doing their, whatever they were doing. Like, there was a moment where everybody stopped until that was over. So I think that it might not, like, if Elias now left and was gone for a day and came back, I don't think that would happen again. But if a month or two goes by, maybe then they would have the ritual kind of thing.
But here's
you know what I mean? Like,
here's the question to Annie's thing. They're asking about the fucking song, but they don't know the song themselves. So what if Elias did come with a song? How would they know that's the song?
Well, you know, to answer your question, they answer it by saying they'll just know it. It's just like this magic frequency that when they hear it, they'll just be like, "Yep, that's it."
That's the one.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to buy it, but that's their story.
Yeah, that's their story. These
they're lying, Annie.
They're lying to themselves. Like, oh yeah, that's the song. You could come up with some magical song that sounds catchy. Be like, oh yeah, I believe that's it. Like, yo, you got no one from the time that this song was played. You all don't know jack and shit, but yet you're gonna magically hear something. And, oh, that's it.
Lou,
that's it.
Lou, I'll help you out. So there's a bit where they say, if the song comes back, it will get brought back to the paradise that it used to be in the previous age. So if you hear a song and all of a sudden everything starts like sprouting into beautiful like paradise and like all of the bad stuff starts fading away, that's probably the song they're looking for. If you just start tapping your toe along with it and go, yeah, that's pretty catchy, that might not be the song.
Right. If the song is like this important and magical, I'm imagining that as soon as you start hearing it, you'll be like, yeah, no, that one's it.
Yeah, because
it's not Itsy Bitsy Spider or something. Yeah, it's not.
Music is going to make the grass grow greener and fucking.
Yes, literally.
Wait, you're saying that like it couldn't happen. Magic literally exists in this world, okay? Moraine can shoot fire out of wood, okay? Like, I'm pretty sure that singing could make grass grow, okay? That's not out of the world of possibility in this world.
I draw the line. I can buy Moraine in the ice and I do what they do, but not a fucking song growing grass and making
it's not. What if it's not a song? What if it's literally a spell that they're singing? They're singing magic lyrics.
Now that can make it happen if it's like
I can't believe you just justified that.
That's the fun about book club.
Anyway, so this fucking shaman guy asks Elias, "Hey, you know my song?"
Yeah, they say hi to Elias. Next, what happens?
Yeah, okay. So, well, they all sit down to have dinner, and there's a casual conversation going. You know, introductions. Oh, I haven't seen you in so long. Is your friends gonna stay away? And Elias, you know, yes, you should know by now they're gonna stay away. Again, establishing that they've known each other for some time. You know, in a quick little sentence or two. So they sit down and there's logs there, and there's a point to say that Elias doesn't even want to sit on the log. Like, this guy's so anti-human being civilization, he'll just lay on the ground. He doesn't care. And so as they're chatting, Rain's grandson comes over And Perrin is immediately put off by this guy. His name is Aram. Or did I miss something? Were you shaking your head for that? I'm sorry, Echo.
No, I was shaking my head at Aram, one of my least liked characters in the entire series.
Definitely, probably. Even what I know, yeah, he is definitely.
Wait, you just don't like him because he's like a weird fuckboy?
He's too handsome. He's too handsome.
That's it.
What I don't like.
And
I'm jealous.
okay, so
Yeah.
let's get. All right. So as he's over there, he immediately, gives Grandpa a hug, Grandma a kiss on the chick. Yeah, and then Grandma makes mention, "Oh, Aram, you're over here to have dinner with us. I wonder why." Immediately starts looking directly at Egwene. So we know what's going on here. And of course, Perrin is like, and
looking out for his boy.
Right.
Not really.
And so,
yes, he is. He definitely is. You can tell he is. He's being a little bro for around.
Or is he looking out for himself too?
No.
That's the thing. So the first thing that Perrin mentions to Aram. Oh, wait. Hold on. I'm skipping a bit. Aram says to Egwene this cheesy line that I'm going to screw up because I can't be bothered to remember. But he said he's looking for the first rose to bloom in spring, and here I found it at my grandpa's at dinner here. And Perrin remarks, was like, he was waiting for Egwene to like get him. Like, oh yeah, thanks for the stupid line. And she's immediately smiling. Yeah. Oh, Aram, that was so beautiful. And so Perrin is like, ugh, like he sees what's going on. And he goes, I'm surprised you guys let the kids play with the mastiffs. Those are some pretty big dogs. They can get hurt. And Aram explains to Perrin that the dogs are trained by the way of the leaf. Oh. And then Egwene, of course, goes, yes. And Egwene goes, way of the leaf? What's that? Very inquisitive and interested because it's all brand new and this cute guy's talking.
She's so annoying. Spurg, that's the equivalent of someone knocking on your door and your missus going, Jehovah, who's that? And them going, oh, thank God, thanks for asking. let me
go play my Black Sabbath albums while we sit and talk about the Book of Mormon or whatever. Yes, no, but basically, yes. Egwene is inviting in the propaganda, if you will, of the way of the leaf, and Aram gestures to the trees behind him, all while holding his eyes on. He's making a grand gesture behind him while staring at Egwene. The leaf is on the tree branch, and it doesn't fight when the wind blows it away from the tree branch and carries it to the ground where it nourishes more leaves and grass and things, and it does no harm. And so that's how every man should be. And this is one of my favorite lines in the entire book because Perrin immediately goes, yeah, but what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, he straight questions.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, like, that sounds like...
And we get an ass whooping if it happens. Like, no, bitch, fight back!
And
fucking way of the leaf.
I like Perrin calling him out for that flowery bullshit that he was trying to, he was dressing it up in a very...
romanticizing it, yeah.
Yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking at. He was being romantic about the way of the leaf, which Perrin immediately finds extremely impractical. But Rain explains to Perrin very, very patiently. Rain is very patient with all these people. But it explains the way of the leaf, that there is no excuse to do violence to another man whatsoever. No excuse. None. It's you just accept what comes.
No!
And Perrin immediately
listen to mumbling Nick about politics, isn't it? With the way of the leaf, you're like, shut up, you're wrong. You're very much wrong. I like you, but you're wrong.
Oh man, God, that Twitter thread. I'm glad you left, Echo. You should see what's going on in there now.
Huh?
Yeah, there's paragraphs back and forth between the thing. We're all friends, but to watch them just,
here's what I do.
It's human nature to debate that out. Right, but that's what happens here. Immediately, Perrin starts questioning. Yeah, I know, I do the same thing. Just scroll. What if this happens, or what if somebody steals from you? And Rain explains to him very patiently that that's not how it works. We just don't do violence. Violence is not the answer ever. And Perrin's like, oh, that's stupid. And Egwene goes, well, I like it because it's nice to hear a guy try to reason without his muscles for a change. Stupid Egwene. And runs off with Aram to go dancing. We're going to go eat with my parents. And Aram, this is why I know Echo and I both just like him. He gives that smile, that over the shoulder, like, That's an ass whooping smile if you ever, you know.
I just imagine him the whole time just
smoldering. I think that's what
being
he's
a
been
fuck
doing
boy.
the entire time. Just smoldering the entire time.
The way of the leaf is fuckboy mentality.
Yeah, no violence.
It's because he's been raised by a bunch of like beaters or less, you know. So all
Bunch
of the
of
girls
fucking
that look at him go,
hippies.
yeah,
Bro, they
all the
make
girls go,
hippies
"Oh my God,
sound
look
bad."
at him. he looks badass. Look, he didn't immediately run away when that stranger walked past the other day. He's bad. Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of it. Like, and Perrin does stand up, like, to follow Egwene and after them, and catches himself a bit. You know, it's like, she's not in any danger. He ain't gonna do anything. You know, there's not this. If they're the way of the leaf, then we're safe here. And Perrin,
Hey,
apologizes.
sleeping with a girl is not violence.
Or trying to. That's right. Yeah, not the way he does it.
The key word is what
It is when I do it.
Jesus Christ, buddy. Tone it down there, buddy.
So Perrin apologizes, and Aram's grandparents are like, no, it's his fault. He shouldn't have been acting that way. He struggles with following the way of the leaf. Like, it isn't easy for everybody to do that. It's a very tough thing. We like shaman monks, not shaman, Buddhist monks, I think, you know, even though they train in martial arts and stuff, they're very passive people. They're not, you know, violent at all. And in fact, try to be harmonious with the surrounding.
Violence.
But Perrin says he doesn't seek violence, and he goes to make the point that he hasn't even wrestled except when it's been fun on feast day games and stuff. But if somebody punched me, I have to punch him back, because that would encourage him to continue to bully me. And Rain says to Perrin, you know, some people just can't overcome their basic instincts, and meaning Perrin can't overcome the urge to retaliate. But Rain also gives a very nice explanation of why violence hurts both the person who is getting hit and the person who is doing the hitting, by saying that the axe can chop down the defenseless tree, but the wood does eventually dull the steel, and the sap will pit the metal. It does do damage, but to itself. But when it's men, we're doing damage to our own soul, and that's how they see it. And Elias cuts this whole conversation short. Shut up about it. We're done with this. Can we eat some dinner, please? I'm hungry. So my question to you guys is, what do you guys think of the way of the leaf? And all of this. Well, we kind of got Lou's answer, but Annie, what do you think about this passive, just kind of float on the breeze lifestyle?
I don't know. There's nothing really to think about it. It's how they try to do things. Good on them. I don't know.
Again.
Bad
It's
stuff. Right, Lou, rip him to bits.
Fuck this way of the leaf bullshit.
I mean, I'm kind of with Perrin. Like, yeah, I'll avoid all the conflict I can until the conflict comes to me, and in which case it's time to hold your ground, because you can't let people walk on you.
That's it. No,
nonsense.
Like, and I believe Perrin asked, "Yo, what if someone punches you? I just take it."
No,
And if
he
I'd
phrased
ask
it
him
super
why-
stupidly. Yeah, he phrased it like, oh, then I'll ask him, why are you hitting me? And if he still wants to hit me, then I'll run away. The same if they're going to murder me. So hold on, somebody's murdering you. Like, hey, why are you murdering me? It's like, oh, cause this reason. Okay, well, I'm going to stop this murder now and I'm going to leave. That's not how it works. You have to be able to defend yourself, at least from being murdered. Maybe, don't punch a guy if he shoves you. Sure, I agree with that. Okay, you don't have to escalate it. Sure. But if your whole village is being, like, run down by Trollocs, what are you just going to do? Guess that's how it ends.
Yeah.
And that is,
basically.
yep.
Or
that's how they are. And
a band of pirates come into their village and decides to rape their women, they're just going to let it happen. Like, that's the way of the leaf.
Can I watch? Let's go. Everybody gather around, because we're not going to do anything.
I'm glad these guys are so passionate, Echo. I'm glad they're so passionate about this right now, because you're going to find out a lot.
I know a lot
Hopefully
from this
later.
way of this leaf bullshit from
You don't know
scene that
enough,
I've seen. Oh, there might be
Yes,
more,
still
but
low.
the one scene I've
Low.
seen that was like, fuck off. Get out of here with this bullshit.
So, real quick, because I did miss a part that was actually pretty funny in my opinion. Again, there's not like a lot of comedy beats, but before Aram left with Egwene, Perrin says in front of them, "Oh, you must do a lot of running," meaning you run away from fights a lot. And Aram was like, in the narration was he started frowning. It was zapped away. And then Egwene, that's when she says, "I like that when men try to solve problems without using their muscles." And he comes right back to it. He's back to being
Running
fuckboy.
from a
You know what I mean?
problem is
Like,
not solving it.
right. Well, that's.
Robert Jordan, I guess, had to give us the fuckboy crew because honestly.
Well, and like Echo says, this is probably his least favorite character. There's a reason also why. Not just because of this, but there's other things that Aram does.
Oh, okay. Well, I look forward to getting to that part of the book.
For sure.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
My one earbud quits on me. Oh, go ahead, Echo. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's fine. The Way of the Leaf is absolutely ridiculous. Like, honestly, they're pretty much the reason why lemmings go extinct, right? I don't know how the Tinkers survived so long, because their essential argument is kind of like, hey, if you're punching me in the head so much, your hand's going to hurt soon. And that's going to be me hurting you. And that's unfair. So, and you're like, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. And it's just, it's kind of the way I look at people who are like vegetarians, vegans, all that kind of stuff, where they go too far with it. This is kind of feels like a parody of it. It kind of feels like something in the 90s that he realized was happening. And he's kind of like, what if we had like hippies on crack who would do like nothing in any way to be remotely kind of like violent? And you're like, it's too extreme. It's just, I don't know. It annoys me, which is great for something in the book. It genuinely annoys me that people would choose to live their life that way.
It annoys me because you can do it in a cool way, but when it's just a bunch of random hippies in the woods being like, "Hey man, we're like one with nature and we don't like fight and stuff," it's kind of stupid. When you have like Snake was saying, like monks, that they train and they steel themselves and literally become like one of iron will and iron body, and then become like an immovable wall of like will. And if they are being beaten up, they can just take it because they can disassociate themselves and put themselves in like this trance state. Like, that's cool. But these guys are just like, meh.
But imagine your religion being handicapping you so much that you can't live in a house anywhere because people just come and break into your house every day and be like, "Nerd, I'm taking your food, I'm taking your money."
That's why they travel so much. They don't stay idle.
Yeah.
They have to run from everyone.
You can't hide.
Well,
fuck off.
And
they
I like
would not
the word
survive
that
into apocalypse.
no. Well, I like the word that Perrin used too. It would encourage somebody
You just
to
walk into their
believe.
camp and be like, "I'd like this. I'd like that. Thank you very
Oh,
much."
well, you know
and
what?
that's
I'm
the
taking
well,
that too.
and truthfully, if you asked, they would give it if they could. Oh, can I have a dog? Sure, take this dog. They wouldn't. That's why they fed Elias. They're not going to not send somebody away. They're not those kind of people. But at the same time, like all three of you said, how are they still alive?
Hippies.
Because they have to keep moving. They have to do a lot of running because they can be chased down. Like I just mentioned, Perrin uses the word encourage, and it does. Like, oh, that guy's not going to do shit. I'm going to go take something off of him. So you can. And then
with
it
all the running
becomes
they do, they should
routine.
be some world-class sprinters.
Oh, yes. Okay. So that conversation kind of winds down. They eat in silence. Perrin has 3 bowls of stew, but notes that Elias had 4. So
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead. Yes,
Is he
anything.
hungry
What
like a
kind of
wolf?
stew is
Is that your
this?
question?
Is this vegan stew? Because they don't kill, so we know we don't got no meat in this fucking stew.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't.
They say
know.
they don't do violence to men. What about they never said anything about not hunting.
They don't do violence to nothing. They don't even harm the leaf.
That's I don't know where they draw the line. Like Echo said, what's the level of extremism do they have?
So then it's
Are
probably
they
like a
vegan?
bartering system. They probably go and buy stockpiles of food and meat and stuff like that.
That's
and probably
true.
Have like a pantry.
Well, that
But
could be true as
again,
well.
In this very chapter, the author states the villagers don't like them close to their village.
No, other
No,
way
they're
around.
not.
The
They're racist.
cities,
Cities
the
and
cities
villages.
don't like them, but the villagers put up with them because of the services that they offer. They will do trade in smaller villages. That's why. We'll get to it. But they haven't been to the Two Rivers in a long time. But they do go to Tarn Ferry, and that's it. Like they don't, and they stay far away because Elias mentions to Rain, stop trying to convert these two village kids into your way of thinking. And Rain is like, well, we just say what we say, and if people want to join us, they join us. We don't tell them to or not to or anything. All right, is Rain a cult leader or not? What do you guys think?
Yes.
Well, yeah,
own way.
but
Yeah.
I wasn't
But-
expecting
but
so
depe-
emphatically, yeah.
I
But
mean,
yes,
depending on how like severe of a cult it is, and whether it's like, we're gonna sacrifice you and I get to fuck all your wives type cult, is to be debated. We don't know enough about them currently, but clearly this is a cult, and clearly he is the leader of this band of the cult members.
yeah,
Gotcha.
they're a cult of running away. That's it. They all run together.
Ugh.
I don't
the
think
poor
they do the sister
Tuathuan.
wife thing, but well, who knows? Maybe they do the sister wife thing because it's the way of the leaf. Fuck out of here.
They're definitely into reproduction, that's for sure.
If it's
'cause it
not a
didn't
cult,
seem
it's
like it was a
definitely an
thing to
MLM.
A multi-level mark. You got to get in on the top floor, otherwise you're screwed. So as they're winding down from dinner, this is another thing I thought was funny. Like, Rain takes out his pipe, fills it with tobacco. Elias takes out his pipe, fills it with Rain's tobacco. You know what I'm saying? Like, they make a point to say that he goes into his tobacco bag to fill it because he probably doesn't have any, or if he does, it's old or
Not
he's
gonna waste.
saving it.
He's not gonna waste it. He's like, I'll take
Yeah,
it
because
from
he knows
this
it. But
nerd.
see, that's the other thing. Like, he knows he can take it. What's Rain got to do? Tell him no? No.
Because it's the way of the leaf.
Well, he
Right.
might tell him no, but that's probably not. Hey, can you put that
Exactly.
back? No.
They
All
don't
right,
know
well.
how to
And-
say no.
And there had been a couple other things throughout the chapter where, like, I forget her name, but Rain's wife was like cooking and, oh, so we should leave him to your way, Elias. And she's like forcefully like crushing,
Rain
like
there or
she's showing
something?
anger on the herbs. You know what I mean? And Rain says, peace, honey, chill, just fucking, it's cool. So, they do practice the way of the leaf, but they obviously, it ain't easy.
Practice.
Yes.
Fuck them.
But as they're smoking their pipes after dinner and all of this, Rain says to Elias that he has some news that he's been hearing around from the other bands of traveling people. And he tells Elias this story, and Elias says, oh, yes, I'll listen. Go ahead and tell him. Rain basically feels him out. Do you want to hear it or no? And he goes, yeah, I'll hear it. So again, we're through Perrin's perspective though. So he's dozing and hears all of this, through half sleeping. Some of the Tuathuan were crossing the Aiel waste. And then Perrin shoots up the waste. The Aiel waste. Tuathuan were in the traveling tinkers were in the waste. Like he says it like 4 times. I got annoyed this past time listening to it because he it was so the waste. Like you couldn't believe it. Like Christmas came in July or something. It's like, so Elias explained to him, yes, the traveling people are allowed in the Aiel waste. Gleemen are allowed in the Aiel waste. And merchants are allowed in the Aiel waste, but anybody else pretty much gets kicked out or killed. And so Rain goes on to tell the story that a woman warrior, which we find out which they both Egwene and Perrin remark on, oh, lady warrior. Ooh. If a woman in the Aiel culture in the Waste doesn't want to be traditional, mom, housekeeper kind of thing, she can join a warrior clan, and it's called the Maidens of the Spears, and that's who made their way to a Tinker's cart, his carriage, and it's made very explicit to us that the Aiel and the Tuathuan do not talk to each other. They stay away from each other. more or less the Aiel stay away from them. It would not speak to them, even if, well, only in this case where a Maiden of the Spirit is literally bleeding out and dying, refusing help, but has a message to tell that is so important that she is telling somebody that they would never, ever even speak to. And the message is that Leaf Blighter intends to blind the eye of the world. They said it again. And Sight Burner, yes, is going to destroy the Great Serpent, attempt to destroy the Great Serpent, and tell the people to be ready for he who comes with the dawn. And basically she dies, and nobody knows what the hell any of that means. Again, Annie, like you were bringing up before, we get these weird, like, injections of lore that means everything to everybody else, but nothing to us as a reader or to Perrin, because all three of them are Rain and Elias are having the conversation. Well, does that mean anything to you? And he's like, well, we know who Leaf Blader is. We know that means the Dark One, but all the rest, I couldn't tell you. It doesn't mean anything to us. But it was so important that she told us, and we need to tell other people, and you haven't heard it, so we're telling you, and hopefully it gets around, blah, blah, blah. And Perrin is trying to puzzle it out as he falls asleep there on the log, and the wolves howl to the new moon, and is a little bit worried, and he's like, well, I'll deal with the wolves tomorrow. Which doesn't happen because, again, they're in his dreams. When Perrin dreams, he's been dreaming normal dreams. We're told he's been dreaming normal dreams, but he notices a wolf every time in his dream. They are watching, not him, but watching something that might be coming. And so I feel like we got the Rand, Matt, and Tom chapter with the opening of the dream, and now we got this chapter explaining a little bit more about Perrin's dreams. Perrin's not having the Beelzemon dreams, and the wolves are there. So we're getting a little bit more dream world-ish lore, what's going on here and who's doing what. What did you guys think about the ending of that chapter? It was pretty interesting to me and extremely confusing the first time I had gone through it. Annabelle?
Super interesting. This chapter was definitely very interesting. I like, even though they're kind of lame, I like the idea of these tinker people, especially if it's like a bunch of them all over the place. It's not just this guy's group. There's like hundreds of these groups, and they're just like bands of nomads and gypsies who go around and, try to survive and occasionally drag people into their ways just because they're chill people, and people are like, oh, well, my life kind of sucks, so I'll go be chill with you guys. I am very interested in the story that was told to Elias. We know some of the information, but none of the key details about it. Like, we've heard the Eye of the World a couple of times, and we know it has a significance, but we still don't know if that is a person, place, or a thing. So, we don't know that specifically. So there's just more details being laid to that. We actually get a kind of insight into the Aiels finally. They've been mentioned, but we haven't had any interaction with them. Even though this is third-hand information, it's still an interaction with them, so that's pretty cool. It confirms that they are humanoid people. You asked at the beginning of the book, like, what do you think they are? And it's like, I don't know, probably like elf people. Confirms that. That's cool. So there's a lot of little things going on, which are really enjoyable. Specifically, the thing with Perrin and the wolves, he's denying all of that and whatever, but he's still already getting benefits from it, such as clearly being like warded, like in this sort of dream realm thing. If Beelzemon is reaching him in the dream, it's not reaching his conscious, so he's not actually having that interaction with him on that sort of semi-nightly basis that like Rand and Matt are having, which reinforces the fact that I believe that they probably should have told Moraine at the beginning, because Moraine probably could have done something to be like, oop, boop, now you have a ward on you, now he can't fuck with your dreams. So at least that part of the avenue is cut off. He can still fuck with you in real life, so be careful of that, but dreams are safe. So clearly, if the wolves can protect him in the dream, then maybe Moraine could have done something, and whatever. And if Rand's getting annoyed by it, then maybe he should fucking say something.
Definitely should have.
piggyback off of your last statement, Annie, I do agree the wolves are protecting him, are protecting Perrin. And that's why, whatever the hell you guys call him, bad man, can't get to him. Because the wolves are there, whether he likes it or not, he's starting to, I think, appreciate it a little more. Like he's coming into his senses with it. The other part, they may not know, but I kind of pieced it like, okay, the bad guy's coming, and we're waiting on the Dragon Reborn to appear. That's how I interpret it. But they don't know it. Because they don't know who the Dragon Reborn is yet. But, most of this shit is prophecy. A lot of it is all prophecy, one way or another. The way of the leaf don't believe in prophecy. They're just stupid. But they'll pass their stories around.
Yeah, they do mention that a bit, that she was dying. She could have been saying anything in the fit of a death fever kind of thing. We don't know if they were hallucinating or what. But what was your first take?
Kind of like when Rand's father got stabbed with the first time. He's hallucinating, telling Rand things and all this other stuff. But Rand brushes it off like, oh, it's fever stores and stuff like that. So, but again, these are little breadcrumbs that Robert Jordan's dropping in your lap. You've got to try to piece it, because when you get there, you'll be like, oh, shit, this is what he's telling us.
Yeah, I do like that. Mr. Eckel, what do you think about the prophecy there at the end?
Yeah, I will drop onto that. I just want to quickly say before I forget, isn't it fascinating that we had a few chapters back, Nynaeve fighting against everything that was happening to her, denial, every single bit, until she was literally put in the furthest bit of the corner, and she had to kind of go, sure, I'm still going to fight against it, but sure. And now we have Perrin. I think we've had 2 chapters with Perrin potentially, or two kind of sections with Perrin, where he's aware something's going on with him and the wolves, and he's kind of like, oh, well, I guess they're over here now. And then he's like, how do I know they're over here? What the hell's going on with me? Like, how's that a thing? And then he's having dreams with them as well. And as much as I think he's equally in denial, the fact that he is kind of just rolling with it shows us a very different what we're going to get chapter to chapter when we're with Nynaeve and when we're with Perrin. Perrin's just going to roll with the punches. He's going to think about it. He's going to go with it. Whereas Nynaeve is you can't really predict where she's going to go. But yeah, the prophecy at the end, I think is very much Robert Jordan kind of going, okay, I promise, we're getting to the eye of the world stuff. I think every so often he's throwing in a little bit going, I'll give you it just like a bit more, because like Spurg said last week, we're halfway through. This week we're halfway through. We are actually getting there, and they're just trying to remind us, I think, here's a little bit more of an info dump, here's a bit more lore, but I promise you, the eye of the world, what's going to happen? Oh, this person died and was trying to pass on a warning about like eye blind or what have you. So yeah, I like it. It is another good chapter, but the problem is I'll probably say that about every single chapter, so that sucks.
I'd like to add on to that. I think you're absolutely right. Perrin is just kind of the way it's described and told is that he's not really focusing and worrying about it until it comes to a moment where it's actually like directly in front of his focus. And I like that when we're in Perrin's perspective, it is a lot more about what's happening and a lot less introspection, because that's not really who Perrin is unless he's in a situation where he really needs to be thinking about something, when he's like slow, methodical, deliberate in his thinking and pacing. Otherwise, he is more like, just focus on what's in front of me and keep my eye on the ball.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And all I hear in my head as well with stuff like this is kind of Perrin going, well, there's no good worrying about it now. There's not a lot I can do.
It's not doing anything negative to me.
Very rash. Yeah, exactly. He's kind of like, yeah, I guess I'll deal with that when I deal with it. But for now, we need to make sure we get to like Whitebridge or Camelin or wherever they're going. I can't quite remember where they're specifically going. But yeah.
Those two are going to Camelin, yes. That was Perrin's decision. And that was probably the weakest chapter, was that one where he washed up on the bank of the Arenal. And it was just Perrin, you know, making a list, checking it twice, finding Egwene, and then being off into the woods. It was just to get that, like, much like the RNL chapter from we were just talking about, fluffy kind of filler, but it's a vehicle. You know, this chapter got them from the river to the woods. That the chapter we just spoke about got Rand from, you know, one end of the river to the other, because that's where we're moving to next, is chapter 26. Is that where we're at?
Back, and it's like,
oh, yes, that's right. Good catch.
She's feeling a little guilty because she was, you know, out dancing and partying
and actually having fun.
While in the back of her mind, she's like, oh, are they still alive? And then she's like, Perrin, do you think they're still alive? Please tell me you do. Please tell me you do. It's like, yes, I do.
And then she's like, all right, well, good night. That's all I wanted to hear. Peace out.
Yes.
She gives him a kiss on the cheek.
And runs away. And I'm going to point this out because Perrin says something here that is going to be a reoccurring joke, I guess. But Perrin says, I don't understand women. Rand has a way with the girls that I don't. I just don't get it. And then and then
Rand has no way with the women.
I hate this. So we will get this for the next 14 books for some reason. It's not a one.
It's so stupid, but yeah,
they do it all the time. It's so.
Rand is dating Annie. You know, they're
barely.
But yes, barely.
That's the way this book makes you think. Not the show.
Have they even kissed?
Not in this fucking book.
Exactly.
I don't think so. To be honest with you, that's a good question. I don't think Egwene and Rand has ever smooched. I mean, prior to this,
that's why if she would have just went off and like fuck this dude in the camp, I would have been like, I mean, sure, Rand could be mad, but are you two even like actually together? Like, have you made that official?
No.
There's a lot of will they, won't they, like I like you kind of shit.
No, I would be pissed if I was Perrin because immediately I would recognize this guy's trying to cuck me if that was my girlfriend or not. He just showed up trying to steal some rando out of camp. Get the fuck out of here, Aaron. Beat it, you yellow
fucking pickup artist is coming in and be like, hey, baby girl, you want to come over here and dance?
That's exactly what he did. Yeah. And it's like, and Perrin was like,
hey,
very politely didn't just punch him. If that happened at a bar modern day, you would get punched.
I'm not sure that this girl is dating my best friend, and I don't want to date her, but I certainly don't like you and don't want you dating her, so.
Exactly.
But
no, but I echo, yes, it is a reoccurring joke, and it's a three-way reoccurring joke between all of them, and I'll be honest, one of them is pretty good with the ladies, and the other two aren't.
I have to bring this one up. First chat of the stream, Young Old Vibe saying, Rand is the Jake Hudson of the Wheel of Time.
Nope.
Young Old Vibes has been picking on Rand this whole time. She does not like the main character, and a lot of people don't. Dude. I'll be honest, they do find him to be very bitchy. And I'll tell you what.
By the way, Egwene. By the way, Egwene.
By the way, Egwene, the show had me and you boned in the first episode, Egwene. And when this goofball comes up to you, Egwene, you turn him down with the quickness, Egwene. Like, those are the contrasts of the show versus the book.
Yeah, in the show, they were definitely together. That I remember.
Okay. Yes. Together, literally. They did the deed.
They were,
and they also try to paint another.
It was disgusting.
I agree.
Those damn $1 million sex scenes.
Yes, right, exactly. Oh, geez. No CGI there. Full penetrate. Oh, never mind. I digress. That one's for Echo. Yeah, you can shake your head at that. So yeah, that is basically where the chapter ends. Is Egwene coming back from the dancing, Perrin trying to reason out what the Aiel Maiden of the Spear said. Elias and Rain and Grandma is just chilling, smoking, doing whatever they're doing, and they all fall asleep and have a nice nap. Oh, that's what Egwene does say, sleep well to Perrin. It's something I stole from this book series, is that phrase.
Another thing that was in the chapter, the Aiel, a small band of the Aiel slaughtered over 100 Trollocs.
Yes, that's what it was. Some of the people went back to see if they could help any of the other injured, and they found everybody to be dead. 1,000 Aiel, but 3 times as many Trollocs. And Elias makes the point to go, Trollocs, this far in the waste, what's going on here? And he says it in the old tongue, but the Trollocs call the waste the dying ground, you know. And apparently they came out of the Blight and chased some Aiel back into the waste and fought there. Which, yes, I'm glad you caught that, because that is also an oddity to be remarked on its own, that Shadow Spawn are showing up in places that they wouldn't typically be showing up.
Yeah, they were,
and
like,
also which helps
Trolloc
facilitate
wouldn't go
why
into the
that message.
wasteland on their own, even if they're forced to. They would like try to stay away.
Yeah. Like Elias made a point to say that Murjal wouldn't even really try to drive them into there.
Same thing with Shadar Logoth. So now we have like another instance of them being pushed beyond their normal means of operation. So clearly there's something big going on in the background.
And excellent. It gives weight to what the Maiden of the Spear was saying to the Tuatha'an. Not only was that a strange thing, but a Maiden of the Spear approaching one of the Tinkers was wildly unheard of ever too. So, you know, there's a lot of weird strangeness going on in this chapter, and hopefully it hooks you and pulls you along. Which leads us right back onto the spray with Tom, Marilyn, Matt, and Rand. In our next chapter, Whitebridge. We're back on the boat, and again another sort of humorous. Well, I'll tell you why, because it's made in the Age of Legends by somebody's hand that we're not sure who did it, and it glows like glass, or it glows white, and it's glass, and we'll get there. It's a beautiful bridge. So this chapter opens up with Matt practicing the flute poorly. Literally, again, it's not like jokes, like banter jokes. It's
a euphemism,
crew members with their hands on their ear. Yeah. People wincing because he's hitting sour notes. And Tom takes the flute away from Matt, and he's like, I'll learn my lesson now that, you know, not every shepherd out in the middle of nowhere sits around on his ass playing a flute all day. And Matt goes, well, Rand's the shepherd. And Tom goes, yeah, well, he can play the flute as well. So there you go. Let's practice juggling. He tries to get Matt to do some juggling. And I don't know if Rand mentioned it last time they were all together or this time, but like, why are you practicing so hard? You know, and Tom makes the point to say, because you might need to be able to take care of yourself, you fool. And he's like, no, we're fine. You know, Rand's still kind of sort of in denial. That anything ever negative is going to happen. His friends are fine. Everything's fine. We're fine.
We'll be fine. If not, we'll go back to the Two Rivers.
Exactly. That's poor guys.
Drake.
So they are pulling up to Whitebridge. All the crew is scrambling around. They make the point to say that they're barefoot. You know, like and I didn't know this. This is why I like Robert Jordan's writing sometimes, but he's like, because wearing boots would make you slip and fall. Like, he didn't need to tell us that. That means nothing to anybody. But I think, as people who consume media, have seen ship crew be barefoot a lot of times, you know, like that's just a natural kind of thing for that. And I never knew why. I thought it was just a literature stylistic choice. They're poor and pirates, you know, who knows? But so the crew's hustling and bustling. Graham, the guy that Rand kicked is still sulking around. Kind of.
Let's call him Graham.
He was talking to Graham. He was talking to other. He was talking to other crew, and they're like, "Get away from me!" Nobody likes this guy anymore. He's being pretty much ostracized. But they pull into Whitebridge. They see the bridge. It's a very beautiful bridge. Got like lacy things coming down into the water. It looks like it's all one piece. And it's a very tall, arcing bridge over the river. And their jaws are like, you know, on the ground. Wow, it's beautiful. You know, everybody loves it. And so as they shore up, there's already carriages waiting from some of the vendors in town because they know Doman's showing up with some stuff. And as Matt, Rand, and Tom are getting ready to leave, Bale stops them and says, you know, Gleeman, you do be doing a good job on my ship. How about you stay and He gives them back the passage that they paid and tells them he'll pay them to do the work on the ship because it keeps the crew quelled while he pushes them hard. You know, it's worth it to Bale to keep Tom around to keep the crew from mutiny, basically.
Right,
because
like I
he does
said,
pushes.
he's the morale officer, and he's like, wow, you did a really good job. I was able to basically abuse my crew up until here, and they didn't kill me, so could you stick around?
He wants him to stick around until take him to Edinburgh, I believe was the next place he was heading to.
Ilion was
Ilion?
Ilion.
Yes.
Ilium, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, and he goes to the point to say where they appreciate a proper Gleeman like yourself. You know, he's basically shitting on everybody else in the smaller towns. Like, they don't get it. Come to Ilion. Come talk about the hunt for the horn and get stories and, you know, keep my crew. Wait. Except that guy, you. And Bale points him out. You could either get off my boat or get tossed in the river, whichever one you want, but you're off my boat now. And that guy just pissed, leaves, you know, stares down Rand and Matt and Tom because it's basically he's blaming them, but the crew is blaming the guy for sleeping on watch.
Again.
Yes, sir.
No one told you to go to sleep, stupid.
Can I ask a quick question? So we had a few episodes back where I think people were underestimating the benefit of a Gleeman and the kind of power they have and the stories they have. Do you think they've made a good enough point now, Annie, kind of like explaining with regards to, you know, he literally stopped a mutiny, essentially, is kind of what we're getting told here, yeah? Because even good old American Cupcake is saying to him, yeah, good work. Like, well done, thank you. You pretty much saved the day with your distractions and entertainment.
I have always thought that they had a super special role. I remember literally my first question about the Gleeman is this guy magic? Because he seems like he carries himself in such a powerful way that he's able to literally influence people around him, like with a psychic aura. He is so good at what he does, and whether that's just Tom or just Gleeman in general, we've never met another Gleeman, so you know we don't know. But he is constantly going above and beyond, improving his worth. And if the team lost him, they would all be at a severe disadvantage because, as I've also pointed out, Tom is an incredible character as a writing tool because he can be used for almost anything. He's like an omni tool. He knows people, he knows places, he knows things. He could have been there. He could have known things. He is so useful in the way he's able to interact with everyone. And like you said, Eckel, he's able to justifiably fit himself into almost any conversation or piece and either give information or get information. So to sum up all of that to answer you, yes, absolutely. They are constantly reinforcing how big of a deal a Gleeman is, considering that they are also in the list of people allowed to travel through the wastes. You know, travelers or like merchants and peddlers make sense, you know, because you want goods, you need a supply line, stuff like that. Especially if it's goods that can only be getting outside of the waste. But suddenly the Gleemans are allowed in there too. So is entertainment really that important? Yes, it must be.
And like I said, Pineapple, where I'm getting a better understanding of Tom through these chapters than what the fucking show gave me with one fucking episode.
You didn't even pay attention to him
because he was in like, one episode. Just one episode. In season 3, in season 1, he was in one episode, dude. Maybe a 1.5.
I'm pretty sure you two were bad mouthing him when there was the peddler versus the Gleeman chapters as well. So I'm gonna have to go back through my book.
I don't think bad mouthing is correct. My opinion is this guy is kind of like a curmudgeon jerk, whereas the other guy seems to be in a high spirit and being more of a Gleeman-like character. But
at that
as
time,
we
too.
learned immediately afterwards, that's because Tom was basically treated like shit the second he came into a village he was invited and paid to be at. So, yes, he was painted in a negative light at the beginning, but that was on purpose because they wanted you to be like, well, you know.
Cool.
So you are right. He was initially in a bad light, but that's because of how he carried himself at the beginning. He was an asshole.
Yeah, well, and he is that way. He keeps calling Rand and Matt boy, and shepherd and, you country bumpkin. He's a bit of a dick, but he's also earned it. He's not 21. He's not the same age as them acting that way. He's an older guy, white haired, white bushy mustaches, which I would have changed in the show to have like a big long beard. Anyway, Tom is a very great, like you said, a useful character in more ways than just being present with the team. He's, exposition dumps. He knows things. He can be doing things. So that's why Bale wants him there. Like Gleeman are important. Entertainment is important, not just in our book here, but that's why we're reading the book, to entertain ourselves. It's kind of almost meta in a way, The distraction is important to get away from everyday life. And if you're rowing all day long, you're going to want somebody to at least tell you a story. We put podcasts on. Somebody's listening to this while they're at work. Hopefully hit the like button. And that's what Tom says. He's like, oh, I'm afraid we couldn't pay our passage to keep going. So Dolman throws him some cash, says twice as much again if you come back after kicking that other guy off the boat. I need you to keep my crew going. But Rand steps in and says, no, we got to go. We're on our way to Kama. We're meeting friends. We got people to look for it. And he starts goading Tom off the dock and into town. And Tom is reluctant, but is letting himself being pushed away. Like, yeah, I mean, Elion though, man. All
he
right,
even says like, okay, if we're not able to find our friends, maybe I'll come back, at least having it still on the table. That offer still stands, right? It's like, yeah, until I leave port, then I can't come back and get you, obviously.
Right. And so the boys and Tom make their way into town, and they're walking through, and we get another painted picture of what it's like. There are smaller fish piles, the same type of not so great fruit at all our shops in here. The point is made that people are kind of staring off in space, the ones that aren't furrowing or frowning. And anybody who's looking close enough can see that hard times are coming. They're not here yet, but it's on the way. Things are drying up. And so Tom makes the decision, I think, to go to an inn because we got to find out information. Where do we find out information? Tom says an innkeeper will know. The right innkeeper will know. And so Tom takes Matt and Rand into the dustiest, dirtiest little place. But it faces the main square of the town, so anybody coming through would have passed through at least the front doorway, walking past this place. And Tom sits down at or as they walk in, they greet the innkeeper, who is not a great guy. Rand makes the point to mention, are all innkeepers fat and bald? So we got a very stereotypical description of what our innkeepers look like. And, again, a long pointy nose kind of thing. And so Tom asks for a place for him and the boys to sit down and talk. And there's a long divider in the room. So to paint the picture, like you walk in the front door, right to the right is an aisleway, then the divider, and then a second aisleway, and it leads back into the facility. And so the innkeeper takes Tom over to a table, sets the boys down. There's only 2 other people in the common room currently, and they're in the back of the common room just kind of being quiet and drinking. And so Tom, Matt, and Rand decide to sit and have a conversation. And they're deciding before that, though, I think there's a conversation that happens. It wasn't a big one, but they're talking about what the plan is. And then, we got to get news. And then Tom says, let me do the talking, basically. And then the innkeeper shows up with 3 mugs of spiced wine for all of them. Tom pays and says, we've been away for a while. What's the good news, good sir person? And so the guy immediately starts talking about his bunions and corns and how he has to soak his feet every night. Yeah. But what's really happening around the way? What's going on in the world? And we get more false dragon in Lugard was going to raise his army and go to Gildan. We know who Logain is now, and there was another guy who was claiming to be a dragon, but he kind of just got beat up because he was going to be a king. He couldn't do that. Basically said to Tom, and Tom nods, and Rand surmises, oh, he means channel. And
the big detail here is that he was captured.
Yes,
and
Logain was.
Are going to parade him through each town.
Yes, they're taking him on a tour. There's something distracts Tom. I'm losing my train of thought, but they're having a conversation, and Tom starts to stare off, and Rand picks up the conversation and says, "Oh, we're waiting for our friends," and that snaps Tom back out of his daydream and is upset because he kind of ruined Tom had a very planned out script to get information out of this guy because he's done it a bazillion times. And so now Tom has to, we're looking for 3 men, 2 women?
3 women, 2 men.
Thank you. I had to
Egwene,
do the math in my
Nynaeve,
head.
Moraine, and then Lan and Perrin.
Perrin, right. And the innkeeper says, "Oh no, haven't seen any of them." But I like the way this is also described is that Tom sketches out a few thumbnails, not literally just sketches them out, but sketches them out with words. Fighting man, a guy with an axe, a couple women who look pretty, and then the innkeeper gets real antsy and says that you guys should just kind of go, and Tom's sipping his wine and he, arches an eyebrow. What do you mean? Somebody else has been asking after them? And the innkeeper goes to walk away. It stops himself, shakes his head, turns around and tells him, somebody's in rags came here looking for you about a week ago. He was a real squirrely guy, was begging for information about you, but then demanding it like he's a king a second later, slipping in and out of accents. I don't know if that was mentioned, but it was before the last time we talked to him. But the boys and Tom are a little confused. They don't know who it is exactly. They can't just place who it is. But then the innkeeper goes on to talk
like Pot on Thane to me.
Yes, it's very much described. That's why I said the last time we spoke.
Yeah.
It's very much described as Pot on Thane, in the very much the same way we saw him in Barillon with Rand. Also, he was here a week before Rand, Matt, and Tom, who were on a boat on a river.
This guy has ludicrous quick travel speed because he beat them there in Barillon, and if he's beaten them here, if it is the same guy, then this guy has some ludicrous quick travel ability.
Hey, yes, and that's what is one of the things I didn't catch on any of the other reads. I wasn't putting that together, that he was just like in front by a week. So he was riding hard, or however he was traveling. I'm guessing it was
like he was last time when he met Rand. Do you remember?
Just being
people like, how the hell did he get there? Yeah.
And so he did it again. But then the innkeeper goes on to say that there was another person looking for him, and everybody goes, "Oh." And he describes this person in a black coat, a cloak with his hood up, hiding his face, but made you feel real uneasy and very uncomfortable. And immediately our crew knows exactly what it is. They don't say it, but they know it. Murderall. And so the innkeeper says, what?
This is a perfect time for me to bring up why I've been thinking this thing about Tom is the Murderall have this like fear aura, this intensity around them that makes people want to comply with them. So I've been thinking that Gleeman may have an opposite sort of effect like that, where they have like a positive enforcement around them.
Or maybe
I understand. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Like a kind of theory with that. Or maybe because he has so many stories and tales, he can kind of go through the stories he's heard in like the Blight and what have you from people who actually have met them or fought them or survived against them, and can kind of go, this is probably the information we can rely on. Have any of you this is gay, any of you watched Phantom of the Opera?
Not in a long time, but I know that
I don't remember the movie. It's been so long.
No, that's fine. There's a line kind of like don't keep it at the level of your eye or something. And it's just a little bit that's in a song, but it's also based on, because he will fuck you up, essentially. That's how he will kind of like cut you or kill you or what have you, is once he's got you eye to eye or what have you. And
Right.
I just like that. I guess Tom has kind of, he's got so much information, like we say, he's like a cheat code, right? That he's literally kind of saying to you something that you're maybe a lot earlier in the game than you should know. He's going, by the way, if you press XXXYZZZ, you actually not get caught in the trance. So yeah, he's
that's it. And more to the point, even Lan, who is like the most badass guy we know so far, was like, it's not uncommon for you to feel fear when facing a Murdral. Don't you worry. Like, I feel fear when doing that, and I'm me. So yeah, they are all like, oh geez. And so the innkeeper kind of has a second thought, I guess. I don't know. He's like, here's your money back. Just finish the wine and be on your way. Out. You know, like, he just wants nothing to do with it. I didn't see anybody. Got it? And even Tom makes the point to say, like, the Murdral's going to make him spill his guts. We got to get out of here. You know, just like you said, you're going to talk. Mm-hmm. There's the best interrogator you could probably ever get, you know, would be a Murdral.
I think even though Tom didn't pick up on it, I kind of took that more as the tavern owner kind of being like, don't say shit about you guys being here. You know what I mean? Because yes, he will make me spill my guts. So I didn't see anyone. Don't bring me up. Don't have this come back to me at all. Have your money back. Go. Here's all your information. But please don't fucking mention it. Please don't mention it to anyone, because you're right. I will spill my guts, probably literally. So yes, please.
Yeah, two-way street. I'm not going to say anything. Please don't say anything.
Yes, exactly. Because that guy was a Murdral intimidate. If it's making you feel that kind of fear, you just want it to go away by any means necessary. And moreover, to the point of people talking, the boy. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Tom splits up the money that they got from Doman. They gave, you know, the third, and a third, and Rand is a little confused. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, just in case we get separated. Are you anticipating us getting separated? No, but I got more foresight than you. So, you know, just in case, this is what's going on. And this is, you know, if we do get separated, we will meet up here. There's one of the things that happened during the conversations when the innkeeper wasn't there. Rand was being very forceful about staying and waiting for Egwene and Moraine and Lan and Perrin and Nynaeve, I guess. Nynaeve. And Ilion boy, think of it. Oh, and that's what it was, the Hunt of the Horn and all that. Like, you can go to Ilion and blah, 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 and we'll make tons of money.
Pledge your life to it.
Right. And it gets to a point where Matt is like upset. And then Tom goes, if you want me to go, just say go. And then Matt goes, well, go.
Just a tiny correction there. They had already left the inn at that point. They're out like in the alley. They're outside during this exact conversation where they're like, well, if you want me to leave. Yes. Okay. And as Tom is about to leave, somebody is coming down the alleyway or whatever. So
they make their escape.
Yeah.
Yes, they make their escape out the window because on the other side of that room divider that I brought up, a third gentleman has joined the other two who were sitting there drinking, and that gentleman happens to be Grom, or whatever his name is. Graham. The angry, disgruntled, kicked off Bail Doman's boat because Rand kicked him in the head while he was sleeping. Is basically saying these three people are dark friends. Like, he's already out spreading gossip against those three because they wronged him in his eyes. And he's just talking shit to anybody who will listen. You know, it's not even like, and so Tom kind of puts it together like, oh shit, you know, if we get up and walk out, everybody's going to see us three. And 1 + 1 is, you know, 2, basically. You know, the innkeeper's going to figure it out. Not only was shady people looking for us, but now we're being named Dark Friend. We got to go. And so, yeah, apparently I got the conversation backwards. They get out the window. They close the window. Tom's putting his harp case and flute in his Gleeman's cloak in reverse to bundle it up, and they're going to make an escape. They got to get out of here. They can't go back on the boat now because they've been talked about, and Bail Doman's ship is compromised, and Tom also suspects that Trollocs are after Bail himself because that's how he was acting on the boat.
For some reason, we have no idea why yet.
Yes.
Yeah, no idea.
So I'm not sure about the other person entering, but I know Tom says, stay right here until I come back. And so Rand is he's got the cloak and the instruments, and Matt's sitting there with him, and what if they're dead? All this, another negative style conversation goes on, but Rand is actually doing a decent job of leading here, as whiny as he is. He's pushing these two to continue to go forward. Whereas I feel Matt wants to roll over and die, and Tom is, I'm a Gleeman, bitch. I'm out of here.
I would like to quit now. I'm tired of carrying this entire operation, so I would like to go and make a bunch of money in Elon. That sounds like a fun time.
And I can't remember which one questions him, but why are you even helping us? Why are you even here? And we get well, I'm guessing it was Matt because he's just bad attitude. Yeah. I just have a poor memory.
The ungrateful, bad attitude guy.
Yeah. And so Tom explains about his nephew Owen, and what had happened to his nephew. Like, Tom was doing exactly what he's trying to do now: leave and go perform and do Tom things, and left his nephew to his own devices. And the Aes Sedai got a hold of him, and basically you can say that they killed him. And Tom has been carrying that guilt ever since because he got there too late to help his only living kin, his brother's only son. So the name dies with Tom now. And I'm supposing that means a lot to them. Me being the last of my name, like, if I don't have kids, that's it. So it doesn't sit in a different way with me. But back then, when you're trying to build legacy and be something like Tom, like the nephew of the court bard to the highest king in the land, blah, 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 that kind of thing. You're building a legacy and relationship, because Owen could have been a Gleeman too. He would have taught him, who knows? But turns out he got killed. And it also explains why Tom has a lot of animosity towards Aes Sedai and the White Tower in general, and why he's apprehensive to even go there. They don't explain how they killed his nephew, but it wasn't a nice thing, 100%. So Tom leaves, and the boys are sitting there. They're having their conversation about all this and what they should do. And as they're having that conversation, Rand sees a black cloak coming up the alley later on, right, as the conversation's fading. And so immediately Rand gets up, gets ready to draw a sword. Matt's up with bow and arrow. Maybe he's got the dagger out.
Is his hand underneath his cloak, probably, like
yes, that's right. That's right. He's ready to do some. He's ready to do some damage. And then Tom pulls the hood of the cloak down and reveals himself, and he's like, "Well, God, if you guys can't recognize me, maybe this disguise is that good." Because they basically almost shot him, thinking he was a Myrddraal, and then Rand has a second look, and the cloak is like dark brown, not black. So okay. So they're getting their shit together, and as they're leaving out of the alley, they make the plan to walk out one by one, far enough apart where we can still see each other and catch up later, but not so close that we would be noticed walking in a group. Okay? So they get out to the square, and across the square happens to be the exact thing they're trying to get away from. Mr. Myrddraal shows up midday, mind you. This is daytime as far as I'm imagining. This isn't like, at the latest, it's like dinner time, 5 in the afternoon. At the latest. Yes.
Is there a little bit of a symmetry here from when Rand earlier on is like, right, okay, make a decision. Turn right. Ah, fuck, there's Beelzebub. Now here they're like, right, make a decision. Let's go. Right, let's go. Ah, shit, there's a fade.
Right. Very coincidental. They go out the window and out the alley. I don't know if they make 2 right turns, but yes, very much similar. They go out one and then out the other, and then bam, he's right there waiting. So nice catch, actually. That's a good little it mirrored.
It's probably
a little
nothing,
bit.
but it's quite cute, you know, the little
Yes.
mirroring.
Well, it does kind of mirror that. So here we go. We get a little bit of action. Tom gives the instruments to Rand, I think, like pushes them into his chest, clutching them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say run, you run. And you run and don't stop running and blah, blah, blah. So Tom runs towards the Murdrall, yelling at the boys, run! And basically tackles them. The Murdrall's shocked because he's going to draw a sword and Tom's already there on top of him. And with his second best set of knives, I'm supposing that Tom defends himself against the Murdrall, which you can see the blue lightning again. There's all, but our boys are taking off. Not only are they running, but the whole town is running now. It's like a kicked anthill. Nobody knows what's going on. People are just hearing the word run being shouted. They see Rand and Matt running, so make haste. They all start running towards the gate. So at least Rand has the thought of, we can get out of town without being noticed because there's so much flood going on. And they keep running and running and running and running. And until Rand's mouth is so dry, when he breathes it in, that's all he's tasting is the dust now. And he stops and heaves his breath. And even Matt is like, come on, we got to keep going, and Matt's covered in dust and sweat and pouring down him. And Rand is like, fuck, man, Tom's dead, basically. Well, he's not dead, but is he dead? I know, you saw what happened. He's dead. They're arguing back and forth.
And then Matt being such a contrarian, he's like, they're all dead. Or no, the other way around. They're like, well, they're all dead. It's like, well, okay, well, maybe some of them are alive. But Tom, you saw Tom die. We both just watched Tom die. So, like, sure, maybe the other people are alive. Maybe. Whatever. Tom's dead.
Can we at least agree on that, Rand? And Rand's like, why do I have to agree that everyone's dying? Like,
well, Rand actually prevents very good evidence, too. He's like, if they're dead, then why is the Murdrall still chasing them and asking after them here in town? They're not dead. Mm-hmm. Or at least we don't know where they are. No body, no death, basically. But yeah, so the boys are actually on their own now and having to make their way to Camelin. At least Tom gave them some money. They got some skills. We, the bit of fluffer kind of chapter. Now we know Rand can take care of themselves a little better. At least Tom did give them the most basic of tools, but there you go.
Rand did say,
and Land's also given them
still
tools, like survival tools. Sorry, go ahead, Lou.
Rand mentioned he still wish he had his Aes Sedai coin.
Yes, also a good point. He feels like he should have had it, even though they didn't get it back from Bail Domond himself. He felt an urge to want it, which is kind of also weird. Like we were talking about warders and marks and being marked and things like that. What do you think about the climax of that chapter? Like two quieter chapters where we got a lot of lore. We met the Tuathalan. We met new characters. We heard about the Aiel more. We went into White Bridge. We didn't stay for very long, and somebody may have died. We seen it happen. Thoughts, Annie and Lou, and then Eccles.
I think this is a great chapter. Even though it was the longest of the three, it felt short because a lot of the scenes are contained into one room at a time. Like most of the chapter happens in that little inn, just having a conversation. As far as the climax for the chapter, I'm going to actually give it a negative because it feels like we've done this before now. It's kind of like the same way they had to leave Barillon. It's kind of like the same way they had to leave Tarvalin. It's constantly, oh, well, they caught up to us. Time to run some more. And I know that's literally what's happening, but it's just, I don't know. It would be nice if they left town on purpose one of these times. Like instead of like constantly, I don't know. It's just a small little gripe on just the pacing. It just feels a little repetitive on that part. But how else are they going to have to be forced to leave town? Otherwise, it's going to transition to them just waiting. It's just me being nitpicky on that part, and I realize that. However, right. I think it's great that they finally ran into the Murdrall. We don't know what happened to Tom. I'm assuming he's not dead because that would be really stupid for him to die in the first book.
Right, I agree with that.
on my notes, Berg. 2 hours, 7 minutes approximately, just for when there's a chapter in a few weeks' time. We're like, oh my god, there's so much fluff and like nothing's happening, and they're just staying in this city for so long, like just waiting for people to turn up. And I'll be like, yeah, exactly. I think Robert Jordan does it to fuck with us. All right, we're never going to be happy.
And we're consuming the book in a different way. You would have been through these first 20 chapters in a few hours versus a few weeks.
Shit.
So it would have been repetitive.
My ass.
Well, you know what I mean. If you were listening to audiobooks, yeah, the first third of this book is about 8 hours. So,
yeah.
I might be exaggerating, but yeah, it's very long.
It is.
I understand. What did you think about the Murdral showing up in town there? Is it another just escape vehicle?
No, because this was my introduction to Tom. Like, he's in the town versus the show. He's in the town doing his little gleaming things and all this other shit. But in his case, his introduction starts with a burial. I think it's in Aiel. I'm not 100% sure, Pineapple. It was someone in a cage, and he felt like that person deserved a proper burial. And Matt, being Matt in the show, wants to go rob the dead.
Yeah, that's not Matt's character at all in the book.
In the book, yeah. So there's big differences so far. And you'll see they banter a little bit in with some drinks and stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Then Matt and Rand get in some trouble. Tom bails them out at the end of the episode, and that's where we get the fade. And basically how it ends here, Tom is fighting the fade while those two are hauling ass running.
Yeah,
so,
no kidding.
That was the subtle difference there, but it is cool. I'm liking it. Like, I've got more insight into Tom. Matt, as much as I dislike Matt in the show, he's not the same Matt in the book. So the show did him a disservice, I will say.
Awesome.
It's crazy. You'd think Matt and Rand would be pretty good candidates for Way of the Leaf, right? With all the running that they've been doing lately. But,
True.
Yeah.
Rand has a kill under his belt.
He does.
Yeah, true.
Very
but at
true.
the same time, they're not ready to fight a fucking fade. No. They will get handled real quick. So in this particular case, it was good to run.
Yeah, obviously. Yes, so I think it kind of came out of the blue a little bit, despite me obviously not knowing, because you don't know the 14 books. I haven't got that good a memory that I'm like, and this is when this happens and this. But despite kind of knowing what happens, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I remember this happens at this point. It kind of caught me off guard a little bit, because we have kind of been like, right, a little bit slow, and then this chapter, because it was a little bit slow, I was kind of like, okay, cool. Okay, so a little bit slow. And then he went, no, it's the exciting chapter, but right at the end instead of, so that kind of threw me off a little bit, because I was like, oh, okay, cool. Normally you can kind of tell by the chapter, you're like, okay, this is where stuff happens and this is just kind of a filler. But it started as a filler and then actually turned into an exciting one. So, yeah, no, it's great. But yeah, I'm suspecting you guys are gonna love the next few chapters coming up soon. So I can't wait.
Yeah, the next couple chapters are going to be very interesting. Oh, go ahead, Aiden. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I feel like these chapters, specifically this third one in particular, would benefit from a little bit more description in the towns. Like, as they pass Whitebridge, you get this great description of it, and you're like, oh, wow, cool, and you're thinking about it. You get, like, the mention of it being, like, from the old world and stuff like that. It's like, oh, that's cool. And then as soon as they get into town off the boat, all description of town stops, and it's just about, like, what's happening. And I know it's not about the town, but like as the reader, I want to imagine. So is there like a bunch of docks here? Is there like tower buildings, kind of like in Tar Valon? What's the architecture like? It's hard to immerse myself in some of these scenes when it's not about the scene. It's about like walking, and I'm like,
yeah,
just describe what you're looking at just a little bit.
Well,
we
you're digging a little bit.
Rivendell yet?
Go ahead, Echo. You first.
Thank you. I was just going to say what I would just say. We've kind of mentioned it a few times, and it's still a valid criticism for the actual book, because you're still saying, well, I would like to see it, like regardless of how you're doing it. But I guess it's because Rand, when he's at sea, he's kind of like relaxed a bit. He's safe. He's like, we're heading here and we can't do anything till we get there. You know, that's it. You know, we're absolutely fine. So he gets to kind of go, shit, look at that. That's amazing. Look at this piece of art. Look at this kind of. And then when you're there in town, they're like, right, where are we going? What are we doing? We're heading. Let's go here. Let's be safe. Stay hidden. Don't say anything stupid. Don't draw attention. So I wonder, like, because obviously Robert Jordan's significantly smarter than I am, if he's very much kind of going, yeah, now we switched the pace of it. We switched the view of it. So all of that stuff that you're like, wouldn't that be good if we got that now? It's intentionally taken away from us. It does make me wonder, because I'm like, that is a good point. It does do that, but it's always done that, right? In those kind of moments.
Well, yeah, that's
not
I understand.
always. Like Tar Valon, I felt like did get a good, not Tar Valon, Terran Ferry. It got a good description of like the way the river goes through the middle of town, how it's got like tiles up on the sides of like the canal, and the buildings are raised up. You get the color of the roofing tiles and stuff. You get a lot of description of that when there's no reason to give it right then. And I think you're probably right. It's probably deliberate, but I just, as a reader, I would enjoy it more in these scenes when it's like, ooh, check out this big cool town. It's like, okay, so tell me why it's big and cool. Like what's cool about it?
Yes.
Gave you a little bit. The coolest thing was the bridge. There were he did mention the docks sticking out onto the river like little fingers. And the townspeople were not in the best of spirits, and shops were selling meager wares. So you didn't, and it did say that some of the town stones were worn down by generations of just walking on them. So there is a little bit, but to Eccles' point, like you're saying, they got business. They're not there to gawk. You know, they did get to gawk at the bridge. They got to gawk around a little bit as they were getting off the boat, but as soon as they hit town, they were in town. They didn't have time to look at every shop sign. They didn't, which they did anyway. You know, as they mentioned every other shop, like scissors, yarn, and sleeping men, and
maybe that Terran Ferry thing is kind of reflective as well, because again, they're in between. They can't really do anything until they get there, and when they get there, all of a sudden it's like whirlpool on you, getting gone. You know, all havoc again.
We'll probably get more town exposition when we finally make it to Tar Valon.
You're going to be
Camelin, at least. I better hear some details about Camelin.
You're going to go get so sick of descriptions, Annie, that you're going to go, no, I liked it when it was every so often where we'd get a little bit.
That's really that's one of my things that I actually genuinely enjoy. Like people bitch about Stephen King being like, he can spend 4 pages describing the color of a door. And it's like, okay, that sounds great. Like I can just skip a page if I don't want to go through all that description, you know, but I really thoroughly enjoy that. Most of the times in the book, they'll go through describing a scene or like mention something, and I'll like immediately get a picture in my brain of like kind of what it looks like or what I would imagine it to. And then sometimes it, like for this last town, Whitebridge, I have like no picture of it other than the bridge and the dock that they pulled up to. And that's, you know, just because that's not what it's about. But like Ilion, we haven't gotten like no description of that, and yet I have a picture of what that city looks like. Like you go to it by boat, and it's this big massive coast, and you got these buildings on the coast, tons of little docks, a big harbor. That's what it picked. That might not be what it is, but it immediately invokes an image, whereas sometimes it's just nothing. And that's just my personal criticism as a reader. And you know, I know I'm gonna have to get over that and not bring it up every episode, but I was disappointed with this great white bridge, and then was like, okay, well, is there anything else interesting about the town?
Yeah,
it's just me.
Well, but like what Echo was just saying, there are going to be many more descriptions. This one did get glossed over, and I do think it is that. I think that they had time in Taran Ferry to notice the details because it was slower until the whirlpool. They did notice a lot of details in the rooms they were in. You know, they weren't. You got a good description of the inn. You knew it hadn't been swept in weeks. The pewter mugs were battered. You know, so there are descriptors and things like that, but just not in the town, like you were saying. And not to spoil, but I don't think we go to Whitebridge a lot after this. It's not a huge town or a huge city compared to some of the other ones that we've heard, like Camelin, which is the next.
Spurg? Mm.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. What's a good comparison then? So it's like Karmic, he's in his little town with
That's the Two
100
Rivers.
people,
That's Emmons Field.
So that's the Two Rivers. And then he goes to see what's her face? Felicia, yeah. And you can see a chicken place and you can see Pizza Hut. And he's kind of like, wow, Whitebridge is amazing. But then he's eventually going to go New York, Singapore, London. You know what I mean? And like, no one cares
Paris,
about
Tokyo,
whatever shitty
Geneva.
place that you saw Felicia in. This is the
Brighton.
actual amazing places that you pay attention to. So yeah, I think it's hard for you because you're like, yeah, like we've seen some of the smaller places. Now we're going to see Whitebridge. Spoiler alert, that's one of the small places, essentially. Like kind of.
It's scaling up. Yes, Camelin is. The only other city that they saw was Shale Ghul Ardhall. That was it. And it was huge, like super huge, and they made a point to say it was 50 times bigger than Emmonsfield, Two Rivers.
One of those Chinese abandoned cities, right? The ones that they built.
Oh my God,
dude.
Aren't those crazy?
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. You just see like big buildings jutting out of the middle of a forest with no purpose other than being abandoned. But yeah, that's where our chapter closes out right there with them leaving and heading towards Camelin. That's where they decide is to head to Camelin. Perrin's on his way to Camelin. I'm guessing Nynaeve, Moraine, and Lan are going to figure it out on the way to Camelin, because from what I recall, I'm pretty sure they were on their way to Whitebridge. Moraine was like, we're going to Whitebridge first, find out what we find out there, and then we'll make choices. So in the next few chapters, yeah, we're going to get some extra cool lore drop. I think a specific character gets introduced very soon here. Another one of my favorite kind of ones. I'm not sure how soon, but it's in the title. There, Echo, who you're wondering about.
Okay.
And I'm enjoying doing this, man. I'm going to make a confession here right at the end because we're coming in at 2:21. No notes this time. I pretty much was doing this mostly from memory. I did listen to it an extra time. But it flowed real well. So, and I was relying on you guys to catch things more, and it worked out because Lou caught a couple, Annie caught a couple. Hey, you should have said this and that.
The next 3 chapters aren't as long.
Oh yeah, these ones were. It was a half hour, 40 minutes, and then 50 minutes. So I am asking you guys to commit to basically a film every time we listen to 3 chapters. It can be up to an hour and a half,
20.
2 hours.
The pacing
40.
is pretty consistent though. They're all about 2-hour chunks for the 3-hour segments. Like you'll have like one that's 45 minutes, one that's 45 minutes, and then the next one will be like 8 minutes long. So they all happen to round around 2 hours, 2 hours, 10 minutes, a little more, a little less.
Excellent. Good observation. I'm glad to know.
I won't be late next week.
No worries.
I've noticed that because normally I'll wake up like 9 o'clock is when I wake up. So I'll wake up at 9 o'clock and then I'll re-listen to them if I haven't, and it'll be like right before I have to jump into the studio. So it's right about 2 hours.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
I'm glad that works out because I am asking you guys to commit to some time. Hopefully that the book is paying you more than I can in money because I have none. Speaking of, supertip.gg/Echo, give him some money and he'll distribute it. He's our Robin.
I won't keep it. Go on.
Can we switch days?
Why don't you ask these questions outside of the show? Wouldn't that be great?
We'll wait.
Okay, just a question. Do you have any of us on Discord? Do you have any of us on X?
He's in the group. We're all in the group. That's why I didn't know which one to decide. He brought it up
when I asked if he was joining, and he had sent me literally before we just went live, like, dude, I'm at the warehouse right now because he all intentions was planning to fucking show up. And
I know. I'm going to bust his balls every time I see him.
It's like, gets hit with the job. I'm like, you think Thursday would be better for you? He's like, it probably will be. Because
we'll discuss it then. Let's close this out because everybody's hi Tracy. I seen you and I waved, and TJE. Everybody stopped by and left a like, but it's time to go. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm still figuring that out too, because like I can bring up chats now, right? Yay!
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I get on a tangent, and then I get you guys on a tangent, and the chat is getting ignored, which I don't mind that much. Not to ignore people, but if it's just people saying hello or asking other questions, no big deal. if it's questions to the book, those are the ones that I will get distracted on. Like, oh, I got to answer that right away. Well, I'm going to try not to do that myself.
It would make sense.
We've got Annie looking after the chat, so she'll bring up any relevant ones. Don't you worry, Spurg.
Yeah, it's like
right.
Rand being Jake Hudson. Oh, such an insult to Rand.
Or to Jake.
Well, yeah, who knows? I don't know. That's a question for the ages, I suppose. Rand Althor or Jake H. Hudson? I don't know if that's his middle name or not. I just made it up.
Jake Hudson.
Let's get out of here, boys. And Annie, the only non-boy.
Smooth.
Yeah, exactly. That was real great, right? Just hit the end thing. No. Do your plugs first. Thank you, Annie. Annie and Echo and Lou. You guys are already on my channel. Hit the like button before you go. But Echo Pineapple, promote yourself.
At Echo Pineapple, find me on X, find me on YouTube. You know what to do. Find me every Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern, I believe. Yes, 3 o'clock Eastern. Or you can find me at 5 o'clock Eastern today with an emergency show about Joey C.
Yay.
That's me done.
Uh-oh.
No spoilers, Lou. No spoilers.
I don't know what the fuck it is, though. What can I
you don't,
spoil?
yeah, I know you don't. No, I'm saying I'm not giving you any spoilers. Fuck you.
Oh, okay. I see. He's keeping it all to himself.
Yeah, I'll tune in.
Annie, promote yourself.
Oh, no, you'll
Lou,
go.
promote yourself. Either. I don't care.
No, you'll go, Lou. You'll go, Lou. You'll go,
guys.
Who's going? Well,
Oh my
do the
God.
Monster One on Twitter. And
No,
YouTube.
we confused.
You can also find me on American Cupcake on Sundays and whenever we do Warp Speed. There you go.
Great.
Perfect.
All right, and then you can find me on my YouTube channel on Wednesdays. I do the Warp Zone, a weekly wrap-up, and I'm also doing an episode of What's This Game tomorrow with Mondays Weekly. Check it out at insanity.com.
Callisto Protocol. Yeah, definitely check it out.
Perfect. Smooth,
all right,
smooth
that's
as.
it.
Right, I'm going to go when the outro goes. See you later, guys.
See y'all.
Right.
We wear the footsteps of our fathers, the trail blazed by our mothers. They bought the land with their blood, Lord, long ago, long ago. Aiel, Ogiers, and AudioBooks. Oh my. Oh, sing of my never. Oh, we for the blood of Aiel. Oh, cry for my never. Long ago, Aiel, Ogiers, and AudioBooks. Oh my. Oh, sing of my Matherin. Oh, weep for the blood of Ammon. Oh, cry for my Matherin. Long ago, Aiel, Ogiers, and AudioBooks.